So I woke up and apparently I'm in someone else's body now. Cool. Love that for me. 1 second I'm minding my own business. Next second, bam, I'm lying in a crappy dorm room that smells like sweat and broken dreams, and two dudes are yelling at me about picking a wife. Like it's grocery shopping. Let me back up. This world is insane. It's some kind of high martial arts future where monsters roam around and everyone's obsessed with gene development. The old me, the original Chun Yi, was an orphan who juiced himself with bootleg gene steroids trying to pass the warrior college entrance exam. He needed 10% gene activation. He got 9.9%, 0.1% short. That's it. That's the difference between future warrior and future corpse. Because here's the fun part. If you don't get into college by 20, the government basically kicks you out the door with nothing. No food, no house, no money. You start drowning in debt immediately, and if you can't pay, they ship you off to mine rocks, feed monsters, or die on the front lines. It's like a death speedrun. But, and this is where it gets absolutely ridiculous, there's an escape route. Marriage. The government runs this app called Free Marriage, where losers like me can match with someone, get married, and boom, stable job, baby bonus money, the whole deal. So my roommates are screaming at me to hurry up and pick a wife before all the good ones are gone. I open the app. Nice red icon. Very festive. Very, congratulations on your desperation. I check the recommendations and nearly throw my phone out the window. First lady, Zhang Chui, 41, divorced, 1 kid, 150,000 in debt. Her profile says 7 out of 10 beauty and thrifty, ma'am. You owe 150K. What exactly are you being thrifty with? Next one, Lu Hong, 39, single, 300,000 in debt. Tags say independent and progressive values. Requirements. Husband must be physically strong, go work in the mines, have a good temper, and also pay off her debt. So basically she wants a punching bag with a pickaxe. Wonderful. Then there's Wang Jinhua, 45, widowed, 2 kids, but hey, no debt. My roommates are telling me she's the premium option, the luxury package. The 45-year-old widow is the best deal on the market. This is my life now. I refuse to accept this. I'm a transmigrator. I have protagonist energy. So I checked the peak rankings, thinking it's got to be better. It was not better. 60 years old, 63 years old, 59 years old. I almost coughed up blood. My roommates are dying laughing, asking if my little body can handle the peak. I want to fight them, but honestly I might lose. Last hope. The goddess rankings. Now these women look incredible. Gorgeous. Fierce. Absolutely stunning. And absolutely psychotic. Turns out, goddess is literal. They're government-made war goddesses. Women who couldn't pay their debts, so the military rebuilt them into half-machine killing machines pumped full of drugs. They fight alien monsters on the front lines and come back completely unhinged. The deal is, you marry one, you get 500,000 credits. The catch? During her vacation, she might snap your spine like a breadstick. 80% casualty rate among husbands. 80%. That's not a marriage, that's a boss fight. So I'm sitting there, sweating, thinking I'm genuinely about to spend my life with a 45-year-old grandma named Wang, when I pulled down to refresh one last time. And there she is. Su Chinga. Age 20. Single. No debt. My brain didn't even process it. 20 years of being single had trained my thumb for exactly this moment. I hit apply so fast I think I broke the sound barrier. Green pop-up. Congratulations. Application successful. Current position. First in line. I don't know who this girl is. I don't know why a 20-year-old with zero debt is on this app. That's probably a red flag the size of a football field. But you know what? Compared to the 63-year-old peak goddess and the war machine who'd use my ribcage as a xylophone, I'll take my chances. I clicked on her profile so fast my thumb almost dislocated. Su Chinga, 20 years old. No debt. And the photo, oh my god, the photo. Long black hair like a waterfall, ice-cold beauty vibes. The kind of girl who makes you forget how breathing works. And then it hit me. I know this girl. She's the school goddess. The one every single guy in the entire school has been simping over. The queen of the honors class. Before I could even process this, my 2 roommates leaned over my shoulder and let out screams that could wake the dead. What the? Su Chinga? These two clowns, who had already locked in their 30-something single moms, looked like they were about to physically combust from jealousy. Their eyes went red. Actual red. Like two discount vampires who just saw premium blood. I shielded my phone with my body like it was a national treasure. Honestly, wasn't sure these guys wouldn't tackle me for it. Then came the coping. Oh, the beautiful, salty coping. It's a bug. Definitely a system bug. Someone stole her photo. It's a scam. Bro, this is way too deep for you. She probably owes billions, or she pissed off some powerful people and needs a fall guy. Just pick the 45-year-old Sister Wong, man. She's safe. She's reliable, right? Because nothing says, living the dream, like marrying someone old enough to be my mom. Thanks, brothers. Real supportive. I hit them with one question. This is a government app. If I get scammed on an official platform, then honestly, I deserve it. But why can't I just be lucky for once? They had nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then, right at that moment, something exploded inside my brain. A massive, cold, mechanical voice boomed through my skull like God got a text-to-speech upgrade. Transmigration detected. Soul compatibility, 100%. Strongest family system, bound. This system exists to build the ultimate family dynasty. All cultivation gains from your partner and children will be returned to you at 10x. The more you reproduce, the stronger your bloodline. Go forth, host. Plant your family banner across the stars. Plant your family banner across the stars. This system is basically telling me to speedrun fatherhood for galactic domination. Then my stats popped up on my retina like some kind of RPG character sheet. Partners, 0. Children, 0. Gene activation, 9.9%. Martial technique, National Broadcast Gymnastics, set 19, proficient. Talent, none. I stared at broadcast gymnastics for a solid 5 seconds. The old me trained for 17 years, and the best he could manage was being proficient at morning exercise routines. That's not a martial art. That's what retirees do in the park. But the system explained something that made my jaw drop. Development points can instantly max out any technique. That gymnastics routine I've been flailing through for 17 years? 1 point and it's mastered. 1 single point. And I earn those points by, well, developing my partner. The system also analyzed Su Chinga for me. Status, undeveloped. Combat rating, 1. Which apparently means standard weakling. The system even confirmed it in the most savage way possible. In the face of the infinite cosmos and boundless martial arts, all ordinary humans have a fixed combat power of 1. Conclusion, total weakling, cold, even for a robot. But none of that mattered because suddenly my phone buzzed with a countdown notification. Applicant Chun Yi. Report to District 3 Fertility Management Center within 30 minutes. Failure TO arrive equals automatic forfeit. 30 minutes. 30 minutes to go meet the most beautiful girl in school who somehow ended up on a desperate marriage app. I shoved my phone in my pocket, grabbed my jacket, and sprinted out the door. Behind me, my 2 roommates stood frozen like someone had unplugged them. He actually went. This is definitely a trap. Yeah, well, your wives are 35 with 2 kids each, so maybe let me make my own mistakes. Thanks. I burst through the doors of the fertility center, ran up to the 3rd floor, pushed open the frosted glass door, and my heart literally skipped. Just straight up forgot to beat for a second. There she was, Su Chinga, in the flesh, sitting in a meeting room plastered with marriage propaganda posters, wearing a simple white shirt and jeans, looking like an angel who accidentally wandered into the DMV. Those legs went on for approximately forever. Her ankles were so pale they were practically glowing. She looked completely out of place, like someone photoshopped a supermodel into a government office. And floating in my brain, the system cheerfully reminded me. Target, Su Chinga. Status, undeveloped. Combat power, 1. Conclusion, weakling. Thanks, system. Very romantic. Really setting the mood here. She heard me come in and looked up, and honestly, reality was even more unfair than the photo. Her face literally made the room dimmer by comparison, like someone turned down the brightness on everything that wasn't her. But those gorgeous eyes? Bloodshot, cold as a freezer. She looked at me the way you'd look at a fly that landed on your lunch. She recognized my uniform. 3rd high school, regular class. Translation, bottom of the food chain. She knew the school, but not my name. Ouch. But expected. I sat down across from her like a normal human being. Hi, I'm Chun Yi, and here's the thing, I didn't stutter. I didn't turn into a puddle of sweat. I didn't do that weird nervous laugh guys do around pretty girls. I just sat there, like a person. This apparently blew her mind, because she actually looked at me twice. Su Chinga, she said. 3 syllables. Voice a little raspy. Zero warmth. This girl could refrigerate a room just by talking. Then she got straight to business. No small talk. No. So what are your hobbies? She sat up straight and hit me with her demands like a CEO presenting quarterly layoffs. I have no debt on paper, but I need money. A lot of money. If we get married, you sign an additional agreement. 50% of your salary, every month, transferred directly to my account. Non-negotiable. I won't spend it on groceries or savings. Every single credit goes toward Jean's serums for MY personal training. Then she stared at me like she was daring me to run. And look, in this world, that's basically highway robbery. You're a fresh graduate with 0 savings, and she wants half your paycheck, so she can go buy fancy power-up juice? Most guys would have flipped the table and left. She knew it too. Her knuckles were white from gripping her own sleeves. She was gambling everything on being drop-dead gorgeous and hoping some sucker would say yes. Well, congratulations, Su Chinga. You found the ultimate sucker. Except I'm not actually a sucker. I'm a genius. Because what she doesn't know, what she can't know, is that I have the strongest family system. Everything she gains from training comes back to me times 10. She spends my money to get stronger. I get 10 times that strength for free. She's not draining my wallet. She's investing in me. Asking me to fund her training is like asking a bank robber if he'd like the vault combination. Yes. Yes, I would. So I just nodded calmly. I know, she froze. Completely short-circuited. Her prepared speech died in her throat. Her mouth actually hung open a little, which was adorable. Did you hear what I said? Heard every word, I said. Then I leaned forward, looked her dead in the eyes, and delivered the performance of a lifetime. You want to train, right? I support that. I deeply support that. There is nothing I admire more than a woman who, even on the verge of marriage and motherhood, refuses to give up on her martial arts dreams. Her face went from ice queen to tomato in about 0.3 seconds. Red from her cheeks all the way to her ears. She glared at me, but her heartbeat was definitely not steady. I could practically hear it from across the table. See, I'd already figured out her situation. School goddess suddenly appearing on a desperate marriage app, demanding money for training? She obviously got cut off by her family. Kicked out. A fallen phoenix pecking around with chickens. Did I care why she fell? Absolutely not. She's beautiful, she's motivated, and every drop of sweat she puts into getting stronger makes me 10 times stronger. This is the most perfect wife in the universe for my system. You want half my salary? Lady, I'd give you all of it. Train harder. Please. But of course I couldn't say that. So instead, I went full noble husband mode. In this world, only the strong get to live like human beings. You have talent. You have ambition. Wanting to train is a good thing. As your husband, even if I have to starve and tighten my belt to nothing, I will absolutely support your martial arts journey. I said, your husband. We hadn't even signed anything yet. I just called myself her husband with 0 hesitation and maximum shamelessness. She looked like she wanted to slap me and kiss me at the same time. Her brain was clearly malfunctioning. She'd been surrounded by boys her whole life, guys who tiptoed around her or tried to show off. Nobody had ever bulldozed into her personal space with this level of audacity. But then suspicion crept back. She started overthinking it. Is he lying? Is this a trap? Will he agree now and back out after the wedding? Her fingers twisted her shirt hem nervously. I could see it. She'd been betrayed before. Her father, her stepmother. She was a wounded hedgehog with every spike raised. Time to close the deal. I tapped the table gently to snap her out of it. Miss School Beauty, I said. On this app, everyone gets exactly 3 chances to match. That's it. I used one of mine on you because I meant it. What I didn't say out loud was the other half. You only have 3 chances too, princess. She got it. Her eyes went wide. I could see the math running behind those beautiful, bloodshot eyes. 3 chances. Her situation was desperate. I'd agreed to everything. If she rejected me, and the next 2 guys said no to her conditions, She took a long, deep breath, like she was exhaling every bad thing that had happened to her. Then she opened her eyes. The doubt was gone. What replaced it was pure, steel-hard determination. You really agree to this? It goes in a prenuptial contract. If you break it, you go to prison and get sent to the front lines. Prison? Front lines? For not paying my wife to get stronger? Lady, the system literally requires me to make you powerful. Threatening me with jail for doing what I desperately want to do is like threatening to lock me in a candy store. I almost laughed out loud but held it together. Instead, I hit her with my most sincere face. For your situation and mine, this works perfectly. You train hard. As your husband, I'm very proud, she said one word. Okay. And just like that, I went from broke orphan with a combat power of 1 and a martial art called morning radio calisthenics to the future husband of the hottest girl in school, who was going to make me insanely powerful without even knowing it. I love this system. She pulled out a prenuptial agreement like a lawyer at a divorce hearing, had it preloaded on a tablet and everything. This girl came prepared. Then she started listing her terms, and oh boy. Rule 1. We live together but sleep in separate rooms. 0 interference with each other's private lives. Okay, weird for a marriage, but Rule 2. All household expenses are on you. My salary and the child-raising bonus. Every single credit goes to MY training supplies. Hold on. Rule 3. Her eyes turn into actual knives. Absolutely no physical contact without my explicit permission. And do not, ever, bring up having children. She went a little red saying that last part, but she powered through it like a soldier delivering bad news. So let me get this straight. She wants me to pay for everything, give her all the money, sleep in separate rooms, never touch her, and never have kids. Ma'am, that's not a marriage. That's a roommate who hates you. My smile disappeared. Gone. Deleted. I leaned back in my chair and looked at her like she'd just told me the earth was flat. Hold up. I knocked on the table hard enough to shut her down mid-sentence. Miss Beautiful, I think you're confused about something. We're here to survive together. This isn't me begging you for the privilege of paying your bills. She flinched. Wasn't expecting pushback. Tried to open her mouth, but I steamrolled right over her. Point 1. No kids means no child bonus. The government gives that money for babies, not for existing. Point 2. You don't know about the wartime marriage law, right? My government job comes with a KPI. Guess what the main KPI is? Reproduction. I leaned forward until I was practically in her face. If you're not pregnant within the first year, the government cancels my job for insufficient breeding value. Then we're both unemployed. I go dig crystals in a death mine. You get drafted as a war goddess on the front lines. That the ending you want. Her face went white. Like paper white. Like someone hit Control-Z on her blood circulation. She'd been so focused on protecting her dignity that she completely forgot about the part where the government requires babies. This isn't the old world where you can just be married and childless and collect cats. No cats here. Only monsters. And mandatory fertility quotas. I kept going because I was on a roll. Also, I agreed to fund your training because a stronger wife means a stronger family. But I signed up for a wife, not a roommate with a restraining order. If I can't even have a normal married life, why would I pick you over anyone else? I'm broke, not stupid. Then I stood up. Actually stood up. Pushed my chair back and everything. Your sincerity is lacking. I'm not wasting one of my 3 chances on this. I was genuinely ready to walk. I mean it. She's gorgeous, sure, but a pretty painting you can only stare at doesn't activate my system. No kids equals no 10 times returns equals no galactic family empire. What am I supposed to do? Get stronger by looking at her. And that's when the Ice Queen finally cracked. Wait, she jumped up. Actual tears forming in her eyes. The high and mighty armor she'd been wearing this whole time shattered like cheap glass. Survival instinct beat pride. As it always does. I agree. Agree to what? Speak up. I can't hear you. Yeah, I'm a little evil. Sue me. She took a massive breath. I agree to fulfill my duties as a wife. But, she added frantically, face now the color of a fire truck. I need some time to adjust. Even just a few days. You can't just immediately. Right away. She was stammering so bad she couldn't finish a sentence. Absolutely adorable. Internally, I was doing cartwheels. But I'm not a monster. I sat back down and switched to warm husband mode. Of course, I'm not an animal. Feelings need time. As long as we're on the same page about reality, we'll be the best partners. Then I signed the marriage agreement on the app. Quick, clean, done. Pushed the tablet to her. Sign. Her hand was shaking. I could tell she was thinking about everything she was giving up. Her status, her family name, her pride. One signature and she goes from Su family's eldest daughter to Chun Yi's wife, a girl forced by survival to marry a nobody. But then something hardened in her eyes. She was thinking about her father who abandoned her, her stepmother who backstabbed her, her sister who stole everything. She closed her eyes and slammed that signature down. Ding. Match successful. Marriage confirmed. Digital fireworks exploded across the screen. Very festive. Very ironic. And then, Su Chinga's face went from determined to horrified. Because she just realized something catastrophic. The prenuptial agreement. Her precious list of demands. The document that was supposed to protect her. We never signed it. She was so flustered by our argument that she signed the marriage contract and completely forgot about the prenup. It was just sitting there. Unsigned. Legally worthless. She looked at me. I looked at her. My mouth may have been forming a small smile. You tricked me, she whispered, going pale as a ghost. You're all the same. Everyone tricks me. Her walls collapsed. Full waterworks. Big fat tears rolling down those beautiful pale cheeks. She was thinking about her dad, her stepmom, every person who ever betrayed her, and now she thought I was one of them. I let her panic for approximately 4 seconds. Maybe 5. I'm not proud of it. Then I slid the tablet back across the table. Look at this, she blinked through her tears. On the screen was a brand new document. Post-marriage supplementary agreement. The prenup is void now since we're already married, I explained, tossing her a pack of tissues. But a post-marriage agreement works just fine. She stared at it, sniffling. The core terms are the same. One small tweak though, I pointed at the key clause. Instead of giving you cash, I'll personally buy all your training supplies, gene serums, nutrient potions, the works, and provide them to you directly. She looked up at me with those swollen red eyes, completely lost. Why? Why would you do this? Here's the real reason. If I just hand her money, what if she spends it on shoes or secretly sends it somewhere else? But if I personally buy the training resources and watch her consume them, every drop goes straight into her cultivation, which means every drop comes back to me at 10 times the value. This isn't generosity. This is quality control. But obviously I couldn't say that. So instead, I went full romantic husband of the year mode. Su Chinga, remember this. We may have met through an app, but now that we're married, you're family. I want to be personally involved in your growth. I want to handpick the best serums for you. I want to watch you get stronger with my own eyes. Dramatic pause. Eye contact. Maximum sincerity. After all, investing in my wife is investing in our family's future. I swear I saw a tiny firework go off inside her brain. She stared at me for a long time. Then she sniffled, wiped her nose, and signed the agreement. Locked. In. Investment Wife 1, officially online. I stood up and extended my hand to the still-dazed school goddess who was now, legally and contractually, my wife. Let's go, wifey. Time to go home and make, cough cough, memories. I reached out my hand like a gentleman. Su Chinga stared at it like I was offering her a live grenade. Wait a moment. She practically fled to the bathroom. I heard the water running. She was in there for a few minutes, probably having a full emotional breakdown in front of the mirror. And honestly, I couldn't blame her. Because here's what I pieced together about her situation. Just yesterday, she was the pampered eldest daughter of the Su family. Rich. Protected. Had a guaranteed spot in the Warrior College exam. Life was a golden highway. Then last night, her father, Su Yinhai, grade A scumbag, slapped a DNA test on the table and kicked her out. Not Su family blood. Bastard child doesn't deserve the Su name. Her mother was already dead. Her stepmother, Fong Qian, had been pulling strings behind the scenes like a Disney villain. And her half-sister Su Qingluo gave her a sweet little, bye-bye, big sis, on the way out. One night. Assets frozen. Qualifications canceled. Every exit blocked by that venomous stepmother. Dumped on the streets right before the warrior exam. Her only options were, get forcibly converted into a psycho war goddess, or sell herself into marriage for government scraps. She chose marriage. She chose me. Not because I'm special, but because I was the idiot who said yes to her insane demands. But standing in that bathroom, staring at her own reflection, she wasn't crying anymore. She was making a promise. Su Yanhai, Fong Qian, Su Chinga, you think this destroys me? As long as I'm breathing, I'm climbing back. I'm taking everything back. And you will kneel before my mother's grave, ice cold. Revenge mode, activated. 3 minutes later she walked out. Eyes clear, jaw set. And this time, when I offered my hand, she grabbed it first. Let's go, she said, still cold, but firm. Home. Her hand was soft and cool, like holding a piece of jade. My heart did a small flip. Just a small one. Business flip. Purely professional. Let's go, wifey. Time to claim our luxurious marital suite. Next stop, my old dorm. I needed to grab my stuff, which took approximately 90 seconds because my entire worldly possessions fit in one backpack. A few changes of clothes. That's it. That's the whole inventory. Chun Yi's estate. One bag of laundry. But the real show was my roommates. The second I walked in, these two sat up like meerkats who heard a hawk. They took one look at me and immediately assumed I'd been rejected. They were so ready to comfort me. You could see the schadenfreude leaking out of their pores. Hey man, don't feel bad. School flowers are just for looking, not for touching. Yeah, hurry up and apply for the next one. The 50-year-old aunties are still available. They're caring. They're nurturing. Think of it as early retirement. These two were tag-teaming me with fake sympathy that was really just thinly veiled joy. In this cruel world, misery loves company. Everyone rotting in the mud together? Great brotherhood. One guy suddenly winning? Unacceptable. I just smiled and started packing. No need. Already matched successfully. Su Chinga is really nice. Since I've locked her in, I'll leave those 50-year-old fairies for you guys to enjoy. Dead silence. Then they burst out laughing. Sure, buddy. And I'm the emperor. If Su Chinga actually picked you, I'll livestream myself doing a handstand while eating. I'll spare you the details of what he planned to eat. Bro, leave him alone. He's clearly in shock. Let him process. They thought I'd lost my mind. Rejection-induced psychosis. Poor little Chun Yi, babbling nonsense. I didn't argue. Just slung my bag over my shoulder and walked out without looking back. He actually left. Wait. No way he actually. Balcony. Now, I know exactly what happened next because I could practically feel their eyeballs drilling into the back of my skull from 3 floors up. There she was, Su Chinga, standing by the flower bed outside the girls' dorm. White shirt, jeans, black hair blowing in the autumn breeze. Even from 3 stories up, even from the side, she was unmistakable. I walked up to her, said something casual. She reached out her hand. I took it, and we walked away together, sunlight practically giving us a golden highlight reel. From the balcony above, I heard 2 souls leaving 2 bodies simultaneously. She actually held his hand. My goddess, Chun Yi, you absolute dog. Music to my ears. We rode the hover bus to our new home, Xingfu Garden. Sounds fancy, right? Star Fortune Garden. Very luxurious name. It was not luxurious. This was government housing for bottom-tier married couples. 11 phases built so far, and since we were newlyweds with 0 kids, we got dumped in phase 1, the oldest, crustiest section. Apparently, you have to produce more children to upgrade to newer buildings. The government literally gamified reproduction. The hallways smelled like cooking oil and mold had a baby. Old tube-style apartment building. Peeling walls. Junk piled everywhere. I opened the door to Unit 302 and the hinges screamed like they were being murdered. 20 square meters. 1 double bed that took up a third of the room. 1 tiny wardrobe. A bathroom so small that if you sneezed while showering, you'd hit all 4 walls. This was our honeymoon suite. Su Chinga stood in the doorway staring at the bed like it was a ticking bomb. This girl went from a mansion to this. Yesterday, she had servants. Today, she has a room smaller than her old closet and a stranger husband she met 45 minutes ago. I could see the dizziness hitting her in real time. What? Too fancy for you. I tossed my bag on the bed and grinned. She took a deep breath, that was becoming her signature move, and forced out, no. Then she immediately pivoted to business, marching to the window with her back to me. So, those training resources you promised. I want to start cultivating. Now, girls got her priorities straight. Vengeance waits for no one. But I shook my head, sat on the bed, tested the mattress. Decent bounce, actually. Relax. Resources are coming. But, she spun around with murder in her eyes. But what? You're going back on your word? Calm down, drama queen. I'm saying you're a mess right now. Heart's racing, mind's all over the place. If I give you gene serum in this state, your body won't absorb half of it. That's just wasting money. She opened her mouth to argue, then closed it. Because I was right, and she knew it. Go shower. Sleep. Reset your brain. Tomorrow morning, first thing, we go shopping for the good stuff. She glared at me for a long moment, probably trying to decide if this was reasonable or another trick. It was reasonable. It was also strategic. Because a well-rested wife absorbs more serum, which means more cultivation gains, which means more 10 times returns for me. I'm not being sweet. I'm optimizing my investment portfolio. But she didn't need to know that. When she heard the word, sleep, her face turned red so fast I thought she was having an allergic reaction. She grabbed her bag and clutched it to her chest like I was a mugger, not her legal husband. You? Don't you dare peek. Then she bolted into the world's tiniest bathroom and locked the door so hard the click echoed off every wall in our 20-square-meter palace. I'm your husband, woman. Who exactly are you locking out? The water ran for what felt like 3 geological ages. I sat on the bed trying very hard to think about taxes and broadcast gymnastics and anything that wasn't the sound of running water. Then the door opened. Steam rolled out like a movie scene. And behind it, Su Chinga in loose pajamas, wet hair draped over her shoulders, water droplets sliding down her neck and disappearing into her collarbone, face flushed pink from the hot water like a fresh peach. My throat went drier than a desert on Mars. She caught me staring, pulled at her collar even though it was already up to her chin. Seen enough? Legally admiring my wife, I said, grinning like an absolute scoundrel. Can never see enough. Besides, sooner or later we're gonna see a lot more of each other. So what's the shyness about? You. She tried to dodge past me to her side of the bed, stammering something about not being ready tonight. Could we please just? And that's when I made my move. Gently, but confidently. I slid my arm around her waist and pulled her close. She went rigid, hands flat on my chest. Full panic mode. What are you doing? Relax. Just a hug. I looked down at her, keeping my voice calm. We're legally married. We have a marriage certificate. We're in a couple's apartment. If I can't even hug my wife, I'll be the laughingstock of the entire school. Her brain was visibly computing. Just a hug? That's not unreasonable. They are married. Legally, he could ask for more. If she refuses even a hug, that's kind of. Point one hug. That's it. Voice barely audible. Eyes glued to the floor. I pulled her in. And the second we made contact, ding. First partner development detected. Current development, 1%. Congratulations. Newbie welcome package unlocked. Beginner ancient sacred kidney, passive. Beginner charm aura, passive. Beginner storage space. A warm energy flooded through my entire body. Sacred kidney? The system gave me an upgraded kidney as a starter gift? I don't even want to think about what that implies. And a charm aura? That's basically a passive buff that makes me more attractive just by existing. I could feel it activate immediately too. Su Chinga's iron-tense shoulders suddenly relaxed a few degrees. Her death grip on my chest softened. The charm aura was doing its thing, like emotional background music turning from horror movie to romantic drama. I gently stroked her wet hair like she was a startled cat. Which, emotionally, she basically was. If I'm going to spend every paycheck on your training, I murmured near her ear, you've got to make me feel like this investment is worth it, right? Her heartbeat went completely haywire. I could feel it through her chest. Her eyes were getting that unfocused, dreamy look. Partly the charm aura, partly the fact that nobody had ever held her like this before. So I kissed her. Her brain blue-screened. Hands pushed against me with the structural integrity of wet noodles. When we separated, she tried to retreat. No, we shouldn't. Just a kiss. Basic marital courtesy. You need to get used to me, right? If it's uncomfortable, I stop immediately. Before she could analyze any of those very convenient logical arguments, I kissed her again. Look, I had a charm aura, a sacred kidney, and 20 years of pent-up single energy. She had zero romantic experience and a passive debuff called emotional vulnerability. The math was not in her favor. I guided her onto the bed and turned off the lamp. Moonlight poured through the window, painting everything silver. In the darkness, holding her hand, fingers interlaced, I whispered her name for the first time without the surname. Chinga. Her eyelashes were trembling like butterfly wings. She'd expected to feel humiliated, angry, used. Instead, wrapped in darkness that hid her burning face, with the charm aura humming softly in the background, the girl who swore she'd never let anyone close. Held on tight. And that sacred kidney? Let's just say the system knew exactly what starter gift and newlywed protagonist needed. I'll spare you the details. Use your imagination. The text literally says, skip 1,000 words, twice, so even the author was too embarrassed to write it. What I will tell you is what happened after. Picture this: Su Chinga, the ice queen, the untouchable school goddess, wrapped up in the blanket like the world's angriest burrito. Only her messy head sticking out. Face redder than a tomato in a sauna. Tear tracks still on her cheeks. And she was glaring at me with enough intensity to melt steel. Liar. Big fat liar. Yeah. Apparently, I'll be gentle, was not the most accurate promise I've ever made. In my defense, sacred kidney. Blame the system. But while she was busy plotting my murder with her eyes, my system was going absolutely berserk inside my head. My gene activation was skyrocketing. Remember how I was stuck at 9.9%? The number that ruined the old Chun Yi's entire life? It blew past 10%, past 12%, kept climbing. It stopped at 14.9%. 14.9%. In one night. That would have put me in the top 5 of my entire class. The Warrior College exam only requires 10%. I nearly quintupled my progress in a few hours. But wait, there's more. The system also dumped an entire martial art into my brain, the thunder sound breathing technique. Not some kiddie exercise routine like my beloved broadcast gymnastics. This was a real internal cultivation method that strengthens your organs and blood. The kind of technique that costs a fortune to learn. The kind poor kids like me could never even dream of affording. Su Chinga had studied this technique for 15 years and only reached beginner level. Cost her family probably 500,000 credits minimum. The system crammed me straight to proficient level. Instantly. For free. I now understood this breathing method better than the girl who'd been practicing it since kindergarten. The only catch. Copyright. This world takes martial arts intellectual property very seriously. If anyone catches me using an unlicensed technique, I'm looking at massive fines and the death spiral. So I made a mental note. Buy the official license ASAP once I have money. But right now, I was riding the biggest high of both my lives. I looked at Su Chinga's gorgeous, furious, thoroughly disheveled face and couldn't help myself. I lunged forward and planted a big fat kiss right on her. Moi? Wife. I love you. You're my treasure. She went stiff as a board. Got goosebumps everywhere. Looked at me like I was certifiably insane. Get away from me, she kicked me. It was the weakest kick in the history of kicks. Like being attacked by an angry marshmallow. I caught her ankle. Very smooth. Very white. I may have examined it a little. Roll where? The bed is 3 feet wide. There's nowhere to roll. This is your fault for being too beautiful. I'm a normal man. How am I supposed to resist? Don't blame me. Blame your own attractiveness. You. She was sputtering. Couldn't even form sentences. How is this my fault? She ripped her foot away and tried to get up. I'm going to shower. I refuse to stay on this. She stood up. Immediately her legs gave out like overcooked spaghetti. I caught her before she hit the floor. Scooped her right back into my arms. Careful there, wifey. Can't even walk straight. Someone needs more exercise. Shut up. Her face was producing colors I didn't know human skin could make. Then she noticed my hands starting to wander again. And she recognized the look in my eyes. Chun Yi, what are you doing? Not letting go. That was just the appetizer. I grinned, pulling her closer. It's our wedding night. Don't we deserve a main course? Are you insane? Don't you need to rest? What if I told you? I'm already rested. Thank you, sacred kidney. Worth every pixel of that starter pack. She stared at me in pure horror, then bared her teeth like a cornered kitten. I'll bite you. Bite me? Sure. But first, the text cuts off here. Again, with a very long row of dots. The author is a coward and I respect that. All you need to know is, the system was feasting. My stats were climbing. My wife was furious. My kidney was legendary. And somewhere across town, 2 roommates were crying into their pillows next to their 35-year-old wives. haunted by the image of me walking away hand in hand with the most beautiful girl in school. Life is good. The text skips 10,000 words. Twice. The author literally got thrown in content jail and had to cut everything. So all I can say is, the sacred kidney earned its name, and Su Chinga discovered the meaning of the word limit. I wasn't even fully satisfied, but looking at my wife, who appeared to have been through a natural disaster, I decided to show mercy. For now, time to check the scoreboard. I pulled up my system panel and nearly passed out from joy. Gene activation, 14.9%. Su Chinga's development, 10%. And I had earned 1 development point. 1 precious, beautiful, golden point. Now here's the thing about this world's martial arts progression. Entry, proficient, expert, perfection. Most people spend their entire lives and never get their basic broadcast gymnastics passed. Proficient. Su Chinga trained the thunder sound breathing technique for 15 years with elite tutors and couldn't even reach proficient. I got it handed to me at proficient level for free just from, well, marital activities. But the real lottery hit was waiting for me. Remember, I hadn't opened my triple kill gift pack yet? Yeah, triple kill. The system apparently tracks performance metrics. I opened it. Boom. Extra 10% development on Su Chinga. 2 more development points. And my thunder sound breathing upgraded straight to expert level. This woman is a walking treasure chest, and I just keep finding new compartments. So now I had 3 development points total. Decision time. Upgrade the thunder breathing to perfection or max out the broadcast gymnastics. Easy choice. I can probably farm more thunder breathing upgrades from Su Chinga later. But the broadcast gymnastics? That basic, boring, retiree in the park morning exercise? Everyone overlooks it. But it's the national standard technique. Taught to billions. There's got to be something special at max level. I spent 1 point. Maxed it. My entire skeleton started popping like bubble wrap. A warm current shot up my spine and flowed through every limb. In my mind's eye, thousands of tiny figures performed the gymnastics routine. Except now every single stretch, every chest expansion, every leg kick was mathematically perfect. The angles, the force distribution, the timing synced with my heartbeat and breathing into one harmonious system. Broadcast gymnastics elevated to perfection. Congratulations. Talent unlocked. Immaculate body. Beginner. My body felt light as air. I wiggled my fingers and felt every muscle in my entire body micro-adjust in response. 0 wasted movement. Perfect coordination. The world's dumbest martial art had literally rebuilt my physical foundation. Gene activation jumped another 0.6% to 15.5%. Su Chinga trains for a month and maybe gets 0.1%. I spent 1 point while lying in bed and gained 6 times that. If she ever found out, she'd cry herself into a coma. Morning came. Sunlight crept through the curtains. Su Chinga's eyelashes fluttered open. She tried to move, and immediately, HSSSSS. Yeah, moving was not her friend right now. She looked to her side. Empty. Still warm, but no me. And immediately her brain went into overthinking mode. He left? Already? Is this what men do? Got what he wanted and disappeared? Does he regret it? Am I a burden? Girl, I'm in the kitchen, making you breakfast. Calm down. She noticed the blanket had slipped, revealing a constellation of red marks covering her skin like someone had attacked her with a stamp collection. She yanked the covers up and wrapped herself into a cocoon of shame. You're awake? I called out, walking in from the kitchen carrying a steaming pot. She jumped like a startled deer and clutched the blanket to her chest. Then she saw me, shirtless, morning sun highlighting every muscle, skin glowing with that immaculate body sheen, looking fresh as a daisy despite last night's cardio. She stared, then turned red, then looked away fast. You, Mimi what? Get up, breakfast is ready. Special recipe, egg and beast meat congee. Very nutritious. You need it. I set the table. Bowls, chopsticks, everything. Moving around the kitchen like we'd been married for years, not hours. She watched me with this confused, slightly touched expression, like a stray cat that got offered food for the first time. Then I walked toward her to hand her clothes. Maximum panic. She shot back into the blanket like a turtle retreating into its shell, hands over her chest, voice trembling. What are you? Not in the daytime. I stopped. blinked, rolled my eyes. Woman, I'm bringing you your clothes. What kind of monster do you think I am? Oh. She took them with a face that could cook eggs. Yeah, she overthought that one. But honestly, after last night, I can't blame her for having trust issues with my intentions. So, she asked while buttoning up, what's this important business you mentioned? I slammed my chopsticks on the table, turned around, and locked eyes with her. Did you forget already? We had a deal. Today we go shopping. The best gene serums money can buy. I'm going to personally feed you into the strongest little wife in this entire housing complex. Her fingers froze on a button. She looked up at me, and for the first time, the very first time, those cold, guarded eyes of hers sparkled with something that wasn't suspicion or anger. It was hope, and I meant every word. Because every drop of serum she absorbs makes her stronger. And every bit of strength she gains comes back to me tenfold. Investing in wifey isn't romance. It's compound interest. He remembered. He actually remembered his promise about the training supplies. That's what Su Chinga's face said when I told her we were going shopping. Like a puppy who'd been told, walk, for the first time in months. But, where's the money coming from? She asked. Simple math, wifey. The government gave us 5,000 credits each as a wedding gift. That's 10,000 total. Our entire life savings. Everything we own in this world. I figured 2,000 for food this month, and 3,000 for her gene serums. When she heard this, she looked like she was about to cry. And not the angry kind from last night. See, 3,000 credits? In her old life, that wouldn't even buy one bottle of fancy fish collagen moisturizer. The cheapest gene serum she used to train with cost 10,000 PR bottle. 3,000 was pocket lint to the old Su Chinga. But she looked at my face and she knew. This was everything I had. Every last credit I could scrape together. I was planning to feed us both for an entire month on 2,000 credits, which meant eating the cheapest GMO eggs, discount rice, and almost expired monster meat every single day. Chun Yi, she turned away, voice shaking. Just save it. Let's survive the month first. Nah, not happening. I grabbed her hand. A little bit is still something. We stacked small wins into big ones. Then I dragged her out the door before she could argue. 10 minutes later, we're standing in the neighborhood pharmacy. People's Drugstore, very inspiring name. Behind the counter sat a middle-aged dude yawning over his phone. My eyes immediately locked onto the fancy little blue bottle in the display case. Deep Blue, brand gene enhancement serum. The good stuff. Boss, how much for that Deep Blue? 5,000, he said without looking up. This bottle was basically a decoration, placed there by the company who paid him shelf fees. Nobody in our broke neighborhood had ever bought one. People here buy the cheapest white label knockoffs for 300 credits, or maybe splurge on Mad Bull brand for 1,000. The Deep Blue just sat there, gathering dust and crushing dreams. I'll take it. 3,500 cash and 1,500 on card. That got his attention. He finally looked up from his phone. Then his eyes landed on Su Chinga standing behind me, and his brain visibly short-circuited for a second. Yeah, buddy, that's my wife. Su Chinga grabbed my sleeve in a death grip. Chun Yi, are you insane? We're not buying that. I squeezed her hand. Quiet, wifey. Husband is working. The boss, now thoroughly invested in our little domestic drama, sat up straight. Good eye, kid. Tell you what, 3 bottles for 13,500. Bulk discount. I was considering it when an ice-cold hand clamped down on my wrist. Stop. Su Chinga stared at the blue bottle with obvious hunger in her eyes, but she killed that look in half a second. She did the math. We had 10,000 total. 13,500 was more than everything we owned. If we blew it all on fancy juice, we'd literally starve before my first paycheck. She took a breath, straightened up, and pointed at the big red bottles on the bottom shelf. Boss, 3 bottles of Mad Bull, please. My heart sank. Mad Bull was the budget stuff. The stuff regular kids in class used. High in impurities, rough on the body, and long-term use damages your foundation. This was like asking a sommelier to chug gas station wine. Babe, no. That stuff is bad for you. What's wrong with it? She looked at me with stubborn eyes. It's practical. Good value. Even the boss couldn't take it. Miss, your husband's right. Mad Bull has too many impurities. It'll hurt your base over time. This man, a stranger running a corner pharmacy in the poorest neighborhood in the district, was looking at Su Chinga like she was his own daughter. I could see it in his eyes. If his girl's boyfriend made her drink Mad Bull, he'd commit murder. But Su Chinga just smiled. An actual smile. The first one I'd seen from her that wasn't sarcastic. It's fine, really. I practice an internal breathing technique that vibrates the organs and flushes out toxins. A little impurity won't hurt me. The boss's eyes bugged out. Internal breathing technique? His daughter was in elementary school, and he was already paying $50,000 to $60,000 a year for breathing technique tutoring classes. Takes 10 years minimum to even reach beginner level. His wife insisted on enrolling her, and it was bleeding him dry. He looked at Su Chinga, then at me, then at our cheap clothes, and you could see the sad story writing itself in his head. Rich family girl, something went wrong, ended up in the slums married to a broke kid. He was probably 2 seconds from adopting us. He sighed. Fine. 3 Mad Bulls. Then he tossed in a free sample pack. Here, on the house. He looked at me with eyes that said, treat her right, or I'll find you. But I wasn't done. Wife, this time you're listening to me. I turned back to the counter. Boss, 3 deep blues. The boss coughed. Looked at my, I will die on this hill, expression. Something stirred in him. Maybe memories of his own young, stupid, love-drunk self. All right, you kids are clearly struggling. I won't make money off you. 3 deep blues, original discount was $13,500. I'll give them to you for $11,500. That's my cost price. Can't go lower. $11,500. That saved us 2,000 credits. Exactly enough for a month of food. Deal. I slammed my ID card on the counter before Su Chinga could stop me. Pinned her blocking hand down with one arm and paid with the other. Maximum efficiency. Beep. Payment successful. I grabbed the bag, pulled my stunned wife close, pinched her cheek, and laid down the law. Remember this, wifey. I decide what you drink. I buy it, you consume it. That's the rule in this house. She wanted to say, too expensive, and I'm not worth it. I could see both phrases dying in her throat. This broke, ridiculous man just spent literally all of their money to buy her premium training supplies instead of letting her downgrade to budget poison. When the whole world had thrown her away, he chose the expensive bottle. She glared at me. Face completely red. So bossy. She mumbled it under her breath. But she didn't let go of my hand as we walked out. Meanwhile, and I didn't notice this at the time, around the corner, a group of punks with dyed hair were watching us. One of them, green-haired, pressed his Bluetooth earpiece and whispered, Boss. Found them. They just came out of the pharmacy. Yeah, trouble was already on its way. But at that moment, walking out of that little drugstore with 3 bottles of the good stuff and my wife's hand in mine, I felt like a king. A very, very broke king. With exactly 2,000 credits to his name and a legendary kidney. We barely made it 2 steps out of the pharmacy before trouble showed up wearing bad hair dye. A group of punks with rainbow-colored heads started circling us like sharks who shop at Hot Topic. Su Chinga's danger radar went off immediately. Years of surviving family backstabbing had given her a 6th sense for ambushes. Chun Yi, ignore them. Let's go. She pulled my hand. Smart girl. But I'd already clocked what was happening. These guys weren't random. Their approach angle was too deliberate, too coordinated. This was a setup. What Su Chinga didn't know, and what I'd pieced together later, was that her lovely stepmother Fang Qian was sitting in a fancy tea house 3 blocks away, sipping tea from a porcelain cup like a Bond villain in a Chong Sam, orchestrating the whole thing. See, Fang Qian's original plan was to sell Su Chinga into slavery while she was on a school trip. Just straight up traffic her own stepdaughter to another city, so the family's warrior college exam slot would go and use this year and roll over to her biological daughter, Su Chinga. But Su Chinga got a random fever and missed the trip. Plan ruined. So plan B. Fake a DNA test, kick her out, cut off all resources. Expected result. Helpless princess collapses, begs to come home, gets shipped off quietly. Instead, Su Chinga went and married someone within 24 hours. Got government protection. Fang Qian did not see that coming. So now it's plan C. Send goons to provoke the husband into a fight. Because in this world, if a non-warrior civilian gets into any kind of violent altercation, even self-defense, they get detained. Detained means missing your work registration deadline. Missing registration means losing the government job. No job means no housing. No housing means Su Chinga is back on the streets, defenseless, ready for Fong Qian to scoop up and destroy. Evil? Absolutely. But you gotta admire the layers. This woman schemes like she's playing 4D chess with people's lives. The local crime boss, some old dude called Third Elder, spinning walnuts in his fingers like a knockoff Godfather, had it all figured out. The boy's gene activation is only 9%. He's a civilian. Doesn't matter who swings first. Any fight means detention. Job gone. Wife exposed. Game over. Cute plan. One small problem. My gene activation isn't 9% anymore. It's 15.5%. And I have an immaculate body. And a sacred kidney. And I woke up this morning feeling like I could punch through a building. But they didn't know that. Green Hair, the leader of this circus, swaggered up to me with peak. I peaked in middle school, energy. Hey kid, got a light. Don't smoke. No light? No light and you're out here with a girl like that? Then this absolute waste of oxygen started eyeing Su Chinga. Up and down, commenting on her legs. Her waist. And then, this cockroach actually reached his hand toward her face. Something inside me went very cold and very calm. I caught his wrist midair like snatching a fly. Then I squeezed. Crack. His wrist bent in a direction wrists are not supposed to bend. He dropped to his knees screaming like someone stepped on a cat. Beautiful sound, honestly. You want to die? I asked. Wasn't really a question. The other three punks? They didn't run. They got excited. Because that's exactly what they wanted, me throwing the first hit. Evidence of assault. The trap was sprung. He hit someone. Get him. Take him down. They rushed me. And suddenly they had spiked brass knuckles in their hands. Spiked. These weren't trying to rough me up. Those things could crack a skull open. Chun Yi. It's a trap. Su Chinga screamed behind me. Yeah, I figured that out about 30 seconds ago, babe. But thanks. I kicked the one on my left so hard, he went airborne. Blocked the brass knuckle punch with my forearm. Which hurt, by the way, drew blood and everything. But here's the thing that made the attacker's face go white as paper. My arm didn't break. He swung a spiked metal fist into my forearm at full force, and my bone held like a steel beam. His hand went numb from the recoil. He looked at me like I was a monster. 15.5% gene activation, baby. My bones are basically reinforced concrete now. Meanwhile, back at evil stepmother HQ, Fong Qian was watching through a hidden camera, smiling her pretty poisonous smile. Oh my, what a tough little boy. The more he fights back, the worse his charges get. She thought she was winning. I looked at the blood on my arm, and something primal clicked on behind my eyes. I grinned. Teeth and all. Probably looked unhinged. Brass knuckles, huh? Cool. My turn. I launched off the ground with a flying knee that caught the punk square in the chest. He flew. Literally flew. 3 meters backward. Hung in the air for a comical second. Then crashed and coughed up blood. I landed, pried the bloody brass knuckles off his twitching fingers, and slipped them onto my own hand. Behind me, the last punk tried to sneak attack me from the back. He never made it. Clang. Su Chinga, my delicate ice queen, ex-princess wife, grabbed a brick from the flower bed and smashed it into the back of his skull with the ferocity of a woman who has had enough of being pushed around. He went down like a sack of potatoes. Lights out. Good night. She stood there panting, clutching a dirty brick, face pale but eyes burning with absolute fury, like an angel of vengeance who grabbed the nearest available weapon. I looked at her. She looked at me. I gave her a thumbs up. That's my wife right there. Went from, don't touch me, to attempted manslaughter with construction materials in under 24 hours. Character development. The last 10 seconds were just cleanup. With brass knuckles and 15.5% strength, these clowns were tissue paper. Broken arms. Broken legs. Bodies scattered across the sidewalk like a yard sale of bad decisions. And then, right on cue, perfectly timed, almost as if someone called them in advance, police sirens. Freeze. Nobody move. Security patrol cars screeched in from everywhere. Officers jumped out with electric batons pointed directly at me. Group brawling. Armed assault. Everyone's coming with US. Of course. Of course. I was standing in the middle of 5 unconscious gang members, wearing stolen brass knuckles, covered in blood, mostly theirs, with my wife holding a brick behind me. This looked bad. Somewhere across town, Fong Qian was probably toasting herself with another cup of tea. But what she didn't know, what nobody knew yet, was that I'd been recording everything on my phone since the moment those punks showed up. Camera in my chest pocket, lens pointing out. Every threat, every brass knuckle, every word. Checkmate, stepmom. You just don't know it yet. The head cop didn't even glance at the 5 broken thugs on the ground. Walked straight toward me with handcuffs out. Eyes cold, like he already knew who he was arresting before he arrived. Because he did. This was all part of the script. Su Chinga went white and stepped forward to argue, but I blocked her with my arm. Stood there dripping blood, looking like I'd just walked out of an action movie, and let out a roar that probably woke up people 3 blocks away. I dare anyone to touch me. The captain smirked. Resisting law enforcement? That's an additional charge, kid. Oh, buddy. You have no idea who you're messing with. I pulled out my phone, still recording, by the way, been recording this whole time, and held it up high for everyone to see. My name is Chun Yi. My gene activation is above 10%. I am a warrior, dead silence. These men attacked a warrior with controlled weapons. That's attempted murder, more silence. The captain's smirk was starting to wobble. Under the Warrior Rights Protection Act, local security has no jurisdiction over warrior-related cases. His smirk was fully dead now. I'm invoking warrior privileges. And I'm calling the Warrior Association. Right now, I dialed 999 before he could blink. The Warrior Hotline. The nuclear option. Hello? Nanjiang Warrior Association? My name is Chun Yi. I'm at Xingfu Garden District 3 intersection. I was ambushed by armed attackers with intent to kill. Local security appears to be collaborating with the attackers and is attempting to unlawfully detain me. I request immediate Warrior Association intervention. Fast. Clean. Every legal buzzword in the right place. I didn't give Captain Corrupt even 1 second to interrupt. The moment he heard Warrior Association, this tough guy cop turned into a melting snowman. The handcuffs froze in midair. Cold sweat poured down his face like someone turned on a faucet. See, in this world, warriors are basically a protected class. The Warrior Association is like if the FBI, the Supreme Court, and your angry mother all merged into one organization. They do not play around. If they even suspect local cops are covering for criminals who attacked a warrior, that cop's career is confetti. Yes, sir. Student. Maybe there's been a misunderstanding. Captain Tough Guy was suddenly Captain Please Don't Ruin My Life, smiling so hard his face might crack. We just responded to a citizen report. Save it for the association, I said, and hung up. Meanwhile, 3 blocks away, things were getting spicy. Fang Qian, evil stepmom supreme, was in her fancy tea house watching the live feed when suddenly the video stopped. No more signal. Her little spy cameras were useless. Then her hired middleman burst through the door, drenched in sweat. Third elder. Bad news. The kid, he's a warrior. He called the Warrior Association. It's over. Third elder nearly dropped his precious walnut collection. Then he kicked the messenger in the chest, because apparently that's how crime bosses handle IT problems. Useless. Fix this. If they trace this back to me, I'll dump your whole family in the ocean. Then he turned to Fang Qian, and oh boy, the alliance crumbled fast. Your intelligence was wrong. You said he was just a civilian. You said you'd verify it yourself, Fang Qian fired back. I never said that. We trusted your info. These two went from business partners to blame tennis champions in about 4 seconds. Beautiful to imagine. Then Third Elder dropped the bomb. The Warrior Association is coming. Someone has to take the fall. Those green-haired idiots are done. They're going to prison forever. If I don't pay them hush money, they'll rat you out. Hiring someone to attack a warrior? That's enough to strip you of everything and send you to the crystal mines for life. Fang Qian stopped dead in her designer heels. How much? She hissed. Third Elder held up 2 fingers. 200,000, 2 million. 2 million? That's robbery. We're civilized people. We don't rob, the old man said with the smuggest face in human history. But the association cars are almost here. Tick-tock. They negotiated like 2 snakes trying to eat each other. Fang Qian screamed it down to 1 million, transferred 500,000 on the spot, bank limit, and promised the rest tomorrow. She stormed out so hard her high heels probably left dents in the floor. This woman spent 1 million credits trying to destroy Su Chinga and accomplished absolutely nothing except making a crime boss richer. Beautiful. Third Elder watched her leave, spat on the floor, and told his people to pack up and flee to another district. Even the local mafia didn't want smoke with the Warrior Association. Back at the scene, I was standing there with my arms crossed, bleeding, ignoring the cop who was trying very hard to make friendly conversation. I just stared at my phone timer for minutes and 50-something seconds. Then I heard it. An engine roar that sounded like a dragon having a bad day. 3 pitch-black armored SUVs with gold sword emblems painted on the doors drifted, around the corner and screeched to a halt in the middle of the road. The door of the lead car opened. First thing I saw, a black combat boot attached to the longest, most dangerous-looking leg I'd ever seen. Then the rest of her stepped out. Fire red hair, black nanofiber combat suit that fit like body paint. A figure so aggressively hourglass-shaped that it looked like the suit was losing a battle against physics. Waist you could fit in 2 hands. Everything above and below that waist operating at maximum capacity. She pulled off her sunglasses, revealing sharp phoenix eyes that said, "I could kill everyone here and be home for dinner." 5 more agents in black combat gear filed out behind her. Red hair spoke first, voice husky and commanding. "Nanjiang Warrior Association, Enforcement Squad 3. Lei Lingling. Which one of you is the complainant?" Chun Yi. The security captain's knees were visibly shaking. I could practically hear his internal screaming. Because apparently this Lei Lingling had a reputation, nicknamed the Black Rose of the Nanjiang Association. The kind of person who makes corrupt cops wish they'd chosen farming as a career. I stepped forward, bloody, bruised, grinning like an idiot. That would be me. Behind me, Su Chinga was still clutching her brick. In a tea house across town, Fang Qian was rage-clicking her phone, 1,000,000 credits per. And somewhere in the system interface only I could see, my stats page was glowing with the quiet satisfaction of a man who turned a street fight into a complete political demolition of his wife's enemies. Not bad for day 2 of marriage. I stepped forward and gave a proper martial arts salute. Classy, dignified, covered in blood. "I'm Chun Yi." Lei Lingling looked me up and down with those sharp phoenix eyes. I could swear she lingered on my physique for a second longer than strictly professional. Her expression said, impressed, even though her mouth didn't. "You claim to be a warrior. Where's your certification?" "Don't have one yet." "Test me." She raised an eyebrow, walked right up to me, bringing along a scent that had no business being on a law enforcement officer, pulled out a handheld gene scanner, and jabbed it into my arm. Beep. Gene activation, above 10%. Her eyes narrowed. Then her face went arctic cold. But not at me. She turned toward Captain Corrupt, and I watched a grown man's soul leave his body in real time. "So, armed attackers assault a warrior, and you show up to arrest the victim? Who gave you the authority?" The captain collapsed like a folding chair. Just straight up fell to the ground, babbling and begging. Lei Lingling waved one hand like she was swatting a fly. "Take everyone. The thugs and these officers. Back to the association. I don't care who's behind this. We're digging until we hit bedrock." Her team moved like wolves. The punks who were so tough 10 minutes ago got dragged into the black SUVs like ragdolls. The corrupt cops followed right behind them. Beautiful. Then she turned to me, softened about 3 degrees, and handed me a printed slip. "Temporary warrior certification. Take it to the hospital. Treatment is government funded. Based on the Warrior Rights Act, we'll pursue compensation from the attackers and whoever hired them. Estimated payout. Minimum 100,000 credits. 100,000. That's 10 times what we spent on the serums this morning. Not only did we get our drug money back, we now had enough for months of training supplies. Getting attacked was the most profitable thing that happened to me all week." "Thank you, Captain Lei," I said, and I meant it. Meanwhile, Su Chinga did something that caught me off guard. She grabbed my arm, possessively, like planting a flag, and gave Lei Lingling the coldest "thank you" in human history. "Thank you, officer. We'll handle it from here." Translation, back off, read. "He's taken." Lei Lingling gave Su Chinga one of those woman-to-woman looks that contains about 47 layers of subtext, then rode off into the sunset in her fleet of armored SUVs. We went to the hospital. Doctor said my bones were basically iron, no real damage, just surface wounds. But I sweet-talked him into writing, "minor bone fracture, rest recommended," on the report. Because the worse the injury looks on paper, the bigger the compensation payout. I'm not gaming the system. I'm Optimizing it. Back in room 302, I sat on the bed like a king while my wife, the former ice princess who'd never done a chore in her life, knelt in front of me with warm water, gently cleaning my wounds. Nice technique, I teased. Very professional. She didn't look up. I used to have a puppy. When he got into fights, I'd clean him up the same way. She just called me a dog. To my face. While nursing my wounds. Did you just call me? I didn't say anything. You connected those dots yourself. She flashed the tiniest, most mischievous smile I'd ever seen on that Ice Queen face, and for a second I forgot how to think. Then she ruined the moment by asking about Lei Lingling. Very casually. Too casually. So, that female captain. You two seemed close. Why? Jealous? Who's jealous? She pressed down on my wound. Hard. OWWW. Are you trying to kill your husband? She panicked, let go, started blowing on it. Sorry. I didn't mean. I pinched her cheek. Relax, wifey. The captain has a nice body, but I prefer your type. Cold, proud, fun to conquer. Pervert. Nobody conquered anything. Her mouth said no. Her smile said otherwise. Then she got serious. Sat up straight. Looked me dead in the eyes. Explain. How are you a warrior? Your gene activation is above 10%. Why were you in the matching center with the rest of us losers? Fair question. Time for creative truth-telling. I gently stroked her cheek until she turned pink, then said with maximum sincerity, what if I told you I really was at 9.9% before? And then last night, something happened. My whole body got hot, like my meridians opened up, like a complete physical transformation. She blinked. Processed. Then her entire face caught fire, because she realized exactly what, last night, referred to. You. That's your excuse, yeah? I basically told her I broke through to warrior level because of our wedding night. Which is technically true. 100% true, actually. I just left out the cheat system part. She was furious. But also, thinking. Because in this world, sudden enlightenment, during extreme physical states is a documented phenomenon. Legendary geniuses throughout history have reportedly broken through during moments of peak intensity. Was her no-name husband actually a once-in-a-million prodigy? I could see the calculations running behind those gorgeous eyes. Her heartbeat was definitely speeding up. Then she did something that shocked me. She pushed all 3 bottles of deep blue serum toward me. If that's true, then you drink these. You're injured. Your body needs recovery. You're the warrior. You're stronger than me. You're the pillar of this family. This girl, who was desperate to train, who was burning for revenge, whose entire reason for marrying me was to fund her cultivation, just gave up her precious serums for me. Because she calculated that keeping me strong was more important than getting stronger herself. My heart actually did something weird. Like, a warm feeling? Is this what people call emotions? Wife, you're amazing, I said. Meant it. Then I pushed the bottles right back. These are yours. I bought them for you. I'm a genius, remember? I'll get stronger on my own. Chun Yi. Stop being stubborn. This isn't the time for. I cracked open a bottle and held it to her lips. You need this more. Your foundation is excellent. You just need fuel. Besides, I leaned close to her ear and whispered, the sooner your body recovers, the sooner we can do our nightly cultivation sessions. And the sooner I get my next enlightenment breakthrough. Win-win, right? Shut up. She wanted to smash the bottle on my face. Every sentence I said was technically about training, but actually about that. And the worst part? Every time I brought it up, her whole body went warm and weak. But she drank the serum. Because deep down, she knew I was right. About the training, I mean. Well, about all of it, really. We compromised on the serum situation. 1 bottle each, 1 saved for later. She drank hers like a shot of tequila. Neck back, 0 hesitation, and the liquid turned into a river of heat flowing through her body. Then she hopped on the bed, crossed her legs, sat in meditation position, and started the thunder sound breathing technique. Deep breath in, deep breath out, little rumbles echoing inside her chest like a tiny thunderstorm in a teacup. And I watched. Now here's the problem. I have this technique at expert level. She's at beginner. Watching her practice was like being a Formula 1 driver watching someone stall a minivan in a parking lot. That's too high. She ignored me. You're too slow on that transition. Still ignoring. Don't pause there. You need to. Chun Yi. Stop. She broke her meditation cycle and glared at me with genuine fury. Eyes blazing. nostrils flaring. Full dragon mode. I have been practicing this technique since I was 5. That's 15 years. With private tutors. World-class instructors. You haven't even seen this technique before today, and you're sitting there on a plastic stool telling me I'm doing it wrong. Fair point. From her perspective, I'm a random guy whose only known martial art is morning exercise, critiquing a technique she's trained in since kindergarten. That'd be like a guy who just learned to boil water telling Gordon Ramsay his risotto needs work. But I am Gordon Ramsay in this scenario. She just doesn't know it. Babe, just try it once. If I'm wrong, I'll never say another word about your training. Ever. Deal? She squinted at me suspiciously. Also, I pointed at her midsection. That last cycle. Didn't you feel a tiny blockage right around here? Like something got stuck? Her eyes widened a fraction. Because she did feel it. She'd always felt it. But she'd assumed that was normal. The crack in her armor was showing. One time, she warned. And if I get hurt, I'm biting you. She really needs new threats. I gave her one simple instruction. On the 3rd chest resonance, don't wait. Push the energy down half a beat faster than usual. Half a beat early? That'll cause a chi deviation. Trust me. I'm your husband. I won't hurt you. She bit her lip, closed her eyes, started breathing. 1 resonance. 2. 3 now. She forced the energy down early, bracing for pain. Boom. No pain. No deviation. Instead, the energy launched through that blockage she'd been struggling with for years like a bullet train through a paper wall. It ripped through her meridians so smoothly, she probably got whiplash. Her eyes flew open. She stared at the clock. 3 minutes faster. An entire cycle completed 3 minutes ahead of schedule. That doesn't sound like much, but listen. In the last 5 years of training with elite private tutors, her total improvement was 3 minutes. I just matched 5 years of progress in one single tip while sitting on a folding chair. She turned to me looking like she'd seen an alien. How? How did you do that? You don't even know the technique's chant. You just watched me breathe and shh. I slapped a finger over her lips and did an exaggerated look around the room. Keep it down, woman. I don't have the license for this technique. If someone hears me coaching you, we'll get fined into oblivion. She gave me the most annoyed look possible. Way to kill the dramatic moment, Chun Yi. But she couldn't let it go. She closed her eyes and tried again. Same method. Same result. 3 minutes faster. Again. Not a fluke. Repeatable. Verified. When she opened her eyes this time, she looked at me completely differently. Oh, curiosity. And something soft underneath it all that she probably didn't even realize was there. Husband. That word came out smooth. No hesitation. No awkwardness. The sweetest, most natural husband she'd ever said. Progress on multiple fronts today. She scooted over, grabbed my arm with both hands, eyes sparkling like a kid on Christmas morning. How do you know this? Not even gold-tier private coaches understand this. Did you secretly study it before? Tell me everything. I booped her on the nose. Want to know? It's pretty simple, actually. I was watching you breathe, and your chest rhythm looked off. Something about the way it was rising and falling just didn't sit right. So I thought I'd smooth it out. That's it. That's it. Genius intuition, babe. Your husband is just built different. She stared at me for 5 full seconds. Then, completely unprompted, totally voluntarily, no charm aura needed, she leaned forward and kissed me. Just a quick one. A peck. But it was the first time she'd initiated. Thank you. My heart exploded. But I kept my cool. Because I had important follow-up business. Thank me? I'm your husband. This is my job. Actually, I noticed your technique still isn't totally smooth. I should help you adjust. The thunder sound method is all about chest resonance, right? This area right here is the core vibration zone. I pointed very specifically. I need to monitor the frequency in real time. Can't risk another deviation. She looked at my face, picture of scientific seriousness. Then she looked down at where my hand had already landed. Her face went nuclear red. What are you? Purely technical. Monitoring resonance. For science, get your hand OFF. But here's the thing. She'd just finished an incredibly draining cultivation cycle. Mentally exhausted. Physically spent. Riding the high of a breakthrough. Defenses at absolute zero. The tiny apartment got very warm very fast. And somewhere in my system dashboard, the development percentage started climbing again. Science is beautiful, isn't it? Another day, another night. The text is mostly dots again. Use your imagination. All I'll say is Su Chinga made breakthroughs in her thunder sound breathing technique, and I made breakthroughs in other areas. When I suggested trying something wilder, she wrapped herself in the blanket like a terrified caterpillar, only her huge, frightened eyes poking out. No more. I really can't. What are you thinking? Am I that kind of person? She nodded vigorously. Fair enough. Morning came. Su Chinga looked like a completely different woman. Gone was yesterday's ghost-pale face. Now she was glowing, that rosy, dewy, well-hydrated look that no skincare product in the world can replicate. Walking a little funny, sure, but the Ice Queen armor had thawed significantly. There was a softness in her eyes now, a warmth. I tried to help her down the stairs, and she swatted my hand away. Don't do that in the hallway. What if someone sees? We're married. What's the problem? I wrapped my arm around her anyway. She went red, but didn't fight it. Progress. Right at the building entrance, because the universe has perfect comedic timing, we ran into my old roommate. He was arm in arm with his match. A woman in her early 30s, thick makeup trying to cover the fine lines, wearing a floral dress and giving off strong, I'm in charge of this relationship, energy. This was his big sister Hong. The second he saw me with Su Chinga, his face went through about 15 emotions in 2 seconds. Shock, disbelief, agony, more agony. Then he noticed that I looked different, taller somehow, shoulders wider, muscles visible through my shirt, skin practically glowing with health, like I'd leveled up overnight, which I literally had. Before anyone could speak, big sister Hong spotted me and her eyes went wide. She was checking me out with zero subtlety, shoulders, chest, arms, like she was shopping for a new model and I was the latest release. She barely even tried to hide it. So this is your roommate? Very energetic, she giggled behind her hand while practically undressing me with her eyes. Then she looked at Su Chinga and did that thing women do where they compliment you while secretly cataloging every detail. Oh my, what a pretty little wife. Like a painting come to life. You're so lucky, young man. I smiled and pulled Su Chinga closer. And sister-in-law looks like someone who really takes care of her man. My roommate's face twitched. Takes care of him? Sure. Last night she took care of him so hard his back was broken. And this morning he was up at dawn cooking her breakfast and carrying her groceries. He looked at big sister Hong, then at Su Chinga, ethereal, glowing, leaning sweetly against me. The contrast hit him like a truck. Yeah, Hongjia is great. Warm, caring. I like mature women, he said through gritted teeth, his smile looking like it was causing him physical pain. Sure you do, buddy. Sure you do. We said quick goodbyes. As we walked away, I heard big sister Hong pinch him and ask, do you prefer younger girls, huh? And oh, I love mature and sophisticated. Good. Let's go home. Now, R.I.P. my friend. Rip. We arrived at the Warrior Association building. 100 stories tall. Black alloy construction. Looked like a giant sword stabbing the sky. This was basically the Pentagon meets the Vatican for martial artists. No dramatic encounters inside. No villains popping out to talk trash. Just a clean, efficient government building full of dangerous-looking people walking fast. I pointed Su Chinga toward a bench. Wait here. She sat down, hands twisted together nervously, like a girlfriend waiting for exam results. I walked up to the full holographic combat assessment machine. Swiped my ID. The system beeped. Please prepare. Strike the target with maximum force. No theatrics. No screaming. No powering up for 3 episodes. I just activated my perfected broadcast gymnastics body coordination. Every muscle chain linked. Force traveling from my planted feet through my spine to my fist like a whip crack. One punch. Boom. The reinforced target caved inward with a grinding metal screech. Numbers went crazy on the holographic display. Punch force, 1,500 kilograms. 1.5 tons. From a single punch. From a guy whose strongest technique is literally a morning exercise routine. If my PE teacher could see me now, he'd have a stroke. I ran through speed and reaction tests too. All excellent. Got my comprehensive evaluation printed out and headed straight to the 2nd floor, Warrior Rank Management Office. VIP reception room too. Quiet. Classy. Smelled like sandalwood. Very different from my 20 square meter apartment that smelled like. Well, let's not go there. Behind the reception desk sat a woman in her mid-20s. Name tag, 089, Li Diana, hair pinned up professionally. White blouse, black pencil skirt, the whole corporate attractive package. She had that competent woman who knows she's pretty energy. She looked up when I walked in, and her eyes did that little sparkle thing. Hello? How can I help you? I handed over my test results and ID. Here to get certified as an official warrior and open a warrior account. She glanced at the paper. Force, 1,500 kilograms. Estimated gene activation, 15%. Then the ID card. Age, 20. Her professional smile upgraded to genuine impressed. 20 years old with 15% activation? In this world, that's blue chip stock. That's first-round draft pick material. She was probably wondering why someone with these numbers wasn't already in a warrior university. Mr. Chun, please, sit down. She practically vaulted over the counter, guided me to a leather sofa, and started brewing premium tea with the enthusiasm of someone who'd just realized they were serving a VIP. I'm your dedicated service representative. Call me Su Chinga. She walked past me with those long legs and that professional sway, leaving a trail of perfume in the air, and handed me a cup of top-shelf Biluakun tea. Meanwhile, downstairs, Su Chinga was sitting on a bench with no idea that yet another attractive woman was currently serving her husband tea with maximum hospitality. It's tough being this popular. Really, terrible burden. Mr. Chun, your data is excellent. Lee Diana, my dedicated VIP service rep, was typing my info into her holographic computer while speaking in a voice so soft it could melt butter. She explained the whole warrior certification process. Submit data, wait 1 to 3 business days for approval, digital badge on the app, come back for the physical certificate if I want one. Then came the good part. As a certified warrior, you'll receive a monthly stipend based on your rank. 1-star warriors get 10,000 credits. 2-star get 20,000. 3 stars, 30,000. And so on. 10,000 a month. Minimum. That's 10 times what a regular job pays. Plus warrior discounts on gene serums, transportation, shopping, and my spouse gets included in the Warrior Family Protection Program with priority healthcare and education. My broke era was over. And the obligations? I asked, because nothing's free. She paused. Got serious. Every registered warrior must complete 1 cleanup mission per month. My heart clenched. I have a wife at home. A very high-maintenance wife who requires constant investment. She read my face instantly. This woman was sharp and leaned forward reassuringly. Don't worry. It's not frontline combat. New warriors get low-risk assignments, clearing stray mutant rats around the city perimeter. Think of it as pest control with benefits. And you get 2 skip passes per year. Mutant rats? With 1,500 kilograms of punch force? I could sneeze on them and they'd die. Sounds good. Thanks, Su Chinga. When I called her, Su Chinga, her cheeks turned pink and she handed me her business card with a look that was about 60% professional and 40% something else entirely. My personal number. For warrior benefits questions, mission assignments, or anything you don't understand. Even after business hours. Anytime. As I took the card, her fingers deliberately brushed across my palm with one slow, feather-light scratch. A move so smooth it had to be practiced. Now look, my system is called Strongest Family System. Family implies expansion. Su Chinga is wife 1, but the system literally rewards me for having more partners and children. Lee Diana wasn't on Su Chinga's level, but that mature professional woman energy was definitely noted. Filed away. Bookmarked for future consideration. But then I walked out and saw Su Chinga sitting in the waiting area, scanning the crowd anxiously for me, looking like a swan accidentally landed in a bus station. Gorgeous. Worried. Mine. Cold water on the wandering thoughts. Focus, Chun Yi. The garden needs tending before you start buying more land. 1 wife at a time. Get Su Chinga maxed out first, then think about expanding the portfolio. Wifey. All done. Let's go. Back at apartment 302. Door barely closed. Su Chinga hadn't even finished putting on her slippers when I wrapped my arms around her from behind. She went rigid. Full PTSD flashback to the last 48 hours. Stop. She broke free like a startled cat, backed against the wall, hands up like a boxer. Chun Yi, you promised. It's still daytime. The sun is right there. I am exhausted from yesterday. Can you please just let me rest? Her eyes were literally begging. Big, watery, please don't eyes. Like a puppy at the vet. I held up my hands in surrender. Babe, what are you thinking? I would never. She gave me a look that said she absolutely did not believe me. I was just checking your chi flow. It's unstable. Yesterday's serum isn't fully absorbed yet. I want to coach your cultivation while the energy's still fresh. Really? Just cultivation coaching. Realer than real. She chewed her lip. On one hand, this man was a proven liar whose, just a hug, had escalated into a full war crime. On the other hand, his cultivation tips had given her 5 years of progress in one session. Desire to get stronger one. Fine, but only cultivation coaching. No funny business. Yes, ma'am. I sat on my little folding stool looking like a wise martial arts master. Very dignified. Very scholarly. She sat on the bed, crossed her legs, closed her eyes, and started the thunder sound breathing. 2 minutes in, I placed my hand on her back. Her eyes flew open with murder in them. Don't get distracted, I barked with maximum authority. Focus your chi. Guard your spine. Your blood flow is blocked here. I'm clearing the pathway. A wave of warm energy flowed from my palm directly into her meridians. Boom. Her stuck energy blasted through like a dam breaking. Every blocked channel opened wide. The sensation was so intense, she nearly moaned out loud. This is real. Yeah, I really was helping. The coaching was legitimate. My hands were performing a genuine therapeutic function. The fact that I was also thoroughly enjoying the therapeutic function was simply an added bonus. A man can multitask, but the real magic was happening inside my body. Every ounce of progress Su Chinga made flowed back to me at 10 times the rate. While she was sweating and straining through breathing cycles, I was just sitting there absorbing free power like a human solar panel. Wife works hard. Husband gets buff. This is the way. We trained for an entire day and night straight. She drank the remaining deep blue serums and was completely lost in the euphoria of rapid improvement. I was completely lost in the euphoria of watching my stats climb for doing basically nothing. When dawn broke, she exhaled one massive breath and opened her eyes. She could feel it. She was right at the doorstep of peak quasi-warrior level. 2 days ago, she was a disgraced ex-heiress with no resources. Now she was knocking on warrior level's door. My stats. Gene activation, 15.7%. Up 0.1% in 1 day from sitting on a stool. The old Chun Yi destroyed his body and literally died trying to gain 0.1%. I gained it by giving my wife a back rub. How do you feel, babe? She turned around. Eyes shining. And then, looking at my tired face, thinking about how I'd spent an entire day and night supporting her training with my own energy, something shifted in her expression. Chun Yi. Her voice was so soft it could make flowers bloom. Then she leaned in and kissed me on the cheek. Just a little peck. Quick. Light. Barely a whisper of contact. But it was completely voluntary. No charm aura. No tricks. No negotiation. She just wanted to. Thank you, husband, red-faced. Barely audible. The Ice Queen, the untouchable school goddess, voluntarily kissing the broke orphan on the cheek and calling him husband like she meant it. My heart did something it had never done before in either of my lives. Of course, I immediately ruined the moment in my head by calculating that her gratitude kiss probably counted as development progress and wondering how many system points it was worth. But still, nice moment. 10 out of 10 would get kissed by grateful wife again. She kissed my cheek and thought that was sufficient payment for a day and night of private tutoring. Cute. I pulled her in by the waist. Just one kiss? That tuition fee seems a little low, don't you think? She melted immediately, hands on my chest, face turning every shade of red. Stop. I'm all sweaty. Sticky. Gross. Let me shower. So I picked her up and carried her to the bathroom. I'll let the dots handle the rest. Afterward, I sat there blow-drying her hair while she lay face down on the pillow, completely unable to move. My fingers combed through her wet black hair, warm air flowing. She didn't resist, didn't complain, just lay there like a pampered cat, enjoying being taken care of. Then her stomach growled so loud it could have set off a car alarm. She froze, then tried to smother herself with the pillow from sheer embarrassment. It's called biology, babe. You trained for 24 hours straight. Being hungry is normal. I put down the blow dryer. Let's celebrate your cultivation breakthrough. We're getting hot pot. Her eyes literally sparkled at hot pot. She swallowed involuntarily, but then the sparkle died. She was mentally calculating our bank balance. Serums are gone. Money is almost gone. Can we even afford? Let's not. My heart broke a little. This girl used to throw money around like confetti. Now she's agonizing over a hot pot dinner. If her old high society friends could see Su Chinga worrying about a $50 meal, their monocles would shatter. Money is garbage. We'll make more. I grabbed her hand and marched us out the door. My warrior certification is coming any day now. We'll be fine. But, no buts. Commander Husband has spoken. 10 minutes later, we were at the local Shaolonkan hot pot, surrounded by bubbling broth and the most heavenly beef tallow chili smell on earth. I ordered aggressively. 3 plates of premium snowflake beef, 2 orders of tripe, duck intestine, yellow throat, and a plate of king prawns. Under the table, Su Chinga kicked my shin. That's too much. We can't finish it. The beef alone is 88 credits a plate. I'm a growing boy. I'll finish it. She watched the waiter walk away with our order and sighed like a disappointed accountant. What if the certification takes forever? We'll be eating wind for dinner, right on cue. Because the universe loves proving me right in front of my wife, my phone buzzed. Twice. I picked it up. Read the messages. Smiled very wide. Then I turned the screen toward her. Message 1. Your warrior account, ending 8899, has received 200,000.00 credits. Note. Nanjiang Warrior Association Case Compensation. Case A7782. Message 2. Your warrior account, ending 8899, has received 10,000.00 credits. Note. 1-star warrior monthly base stipend. Su Chinga started counting on her fingers. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. 200,000. Her eyes went full dinner plates. Mouth hanging open. Voice shaking. 210,000 credits total. Lei Lingling said the compensation would be at least 100,000. She doubled it. Fang Qian must have been absolutely hemorrhaging money trying to bury this. Good. Bleed more. Plus that monthly 10,000 stipend. Every month, forever, just for existing as a warrior. I dropped a piece of perfectly blanched tripe into her bowl like a gentleman. See? Told you we'd have money. Now eat. She stared at the tripe. Stared at me. Her eyes got misty. For the first time since I'd met her, the worry was completely gone. No more mental math. No more rationing. No more, can we afford this? The boulder she'd been carrying since her family threw her out. It finally hit the ground. She nodded hard, stuffed the tripe in her mouth, and said with her cheeks full, so good. Watching the Ice Queen eat hot pot with genuine happiness on her face was worth more than 210,000 credits. Then my phone rang again. Unknown number. Hello, Mr. Chun. This is Li Dianya from the Warrior Association, badge 089. Ah, Xiaoya. The professional beauty with the wandering fingers. Congratulations. Your warrior certification has been approved. You are now officially a registered 1-star warrior of the Federation. I've been assigned as your dedicated service representative. Oh, hey Xiaoya. That was fast. Her voice got noticeably warmer when I used her nickname. Across the table, Su Chinga's chopsticks stopped midair. Her ears perked up like a radar dish. Who is Xiaoya, and why does her husband sound so friendly with her? Li Dianya continued. I'll be handling all your association affairs, missions, resources, any problems. Available 24 hours. And if you're not satisfied with my service, you can request a different rep anytime. No need to switch. You're great. Thank you for your trust. Genuine excitement in her voice. Landing a young, high-potential warrior as her client was a career goldmine. Then she dropped the real bomb. Mr. Chun, our records show you're currently residing at Xingfu Garden. Under our new warrior benefit policy, you're eligible to apply for a unit in the latest warrior apartment complex. Full security, built-in gravity training room, luxury finishings, 2 bedrooms, 1 living room. Completely rent-free, 2 bedrooms, 1 living room, gravity training room. Free. My current apartment is 20 square meters of misery where the walls are so thin the neighbors can hear me think. The soundproofing situation has been concerning. Su Chinga turns red every time we pass a neighbor in the hallway. Warrior apartment with actual rooms and walls that block sound. This was the best news I'd gotten since the system activated. Yes. Submit that application immediately. Su Chinga, still holding her chopsticks frozen in the air, mouthed silently. Who is that? I covered the phone. My association service rep. She's getting us a free luxury apartment. Su Chinga's jealousy deflated instantly, replaced by raw excitement. Free apartment beats rivalry every time. So let me do the math on today's haul. 200,000 in compensation. 10,000 monthly income. Official warrior status. A free luxury apartment with a training room. And a wife who's almost reached warrior level herself. 4 days ago, I was a dead orphan with broadcast gymnastics and zero prospects. Today I'm a certified warrior, a hot pot enthusiast, and the luckiest husband in the entire Federation. And somewhere out there, Fang Qian was a million credits poorer, wondering how her foolproof plan went so catastrophically wrong. Life is good. I told Li Dianya to rush the apartment application. She said 24 hours. It took less time than a hot pot dinner. Speaking of which, hot pot. Su Chinga still had half a shrimp hanging out of her mouth when she tried to casually interrogate me about the phone call. Who was that? Warrior Association rep. Li Dianya. Oh, the one in the black stockings. How did she know about the stockings? She wasn't even in the room. Women have surveillance capabilities that exceed military technology. Anyway, I said, executing the smoothest topic change in history. Good news. We're getting a new apartment. Warrior exclusive housing. 2 bedrooms, 1 living room, fully furnished, training room included. Free. And best of all, we won't have to cultivate on that squeaky old bed anymore. Su Chinga choked on a shrimp ball so hard she nearly died at the table. Coughing, sputtering, face exploding in red. She stomped on my foot under the table. Can you be normal for 5 seconds? We're in public. What? I meant the bed is bad for your back. The new one will be softer. Better for your lumbar support. She buried her face in the hot pot and ate like her life depended on it, refusing to look at me. But her ears were pink and the corners of her mouth were fighting a losing battle against a smile. After dinner, we went back to pack. Took about 9 minutes. Our combined worldly possessions, 2 backpacks of clothes. That's it. The entire Chinsu family estate fit in a taxi trunk. I took one last look at room 302. 20 square meters of peeling walls and memories. My first marital home. The place where I went from combat power 1 to certified warrior. Where a morning exercise routine became a devastating martial art. Where Su Chinga went from, don't touch me, to, well, sentimental? Maybe a little. Let's go, wifey. Goodbye forever, she said with zero nostalgia, practically skipping to the elevator. Right outside, we bumped into my other roommate, Wang Chong. He saw me holding Su Chinga's hand, and his brain started short-circuiting. Where are you guys going? Moving out. Got a place at the Warrior Apartments. Silence. Warrior Apartments? His voice cracked so hard he sounded like a duck being stepped on. In this world, everyone knows what Warrior Apartments mean. That's the premium gated community with armed guards and manicured gardens. The place bottom-tier civilians fantasize about while eating instant noodles. You're a real warrior now? Yeah, certified today. 1 star. Got lucky with a breakthrough. I said it like I was mentioning the weather. Then I waved goodbye and walked down the stairs with my gorgeous wife, leaving him frozen in the hallway like someone had pressed his pause button. I could practically hear his thoughts. I should have picked a young one. What if I could have awakened too? Too late, brother. You chose the 35-year-old express lane. No refunds. The Warrior apartment complex was called Jinxiu Garden, and it was basically a different planet compared to Xingfu Garden. Armed security at the gate. Infrared detection on the walls. Fountains. Actual trees. White high-rise buildings that looked like they belonged in a magazine. Mr. Chun, MS. Su, welcome home. The guard saluted us. A military salute. For me. The orphan who was eating expired monster meat 3 days ago. Su Chinga grabbed the back of my shirt and held on tight. She was trying to look calm, but her grip said, I'm so excited I might explode. Being treated with respect again, after getting thrown out like garbage by her own family, hit her somewhere deep. Unit A, 1601. 16th floor. I pressed my fingerprint to the lock. The door opened, and even Su Chinga, who grew up in an actual mansion, let out a, wow, 90 square meters of pure luxury. Smart home system. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking half the city. Cream leather sofa. Minimalist dining area. Hardwood floors so polished you could see your reflection. Then I opened the heavy metal door next to the living room. Check this out, babe. She peeked inside and her breathing went haywire. 20 square meter dedicated training room. Soundproof walls. Shock-absorbing floor. And sitting in the center like a throne, a miniature gravity adjustment machine. A gravity regulator. She literally ran to it and started stroking the metal like it was a newborn baby. These cost 300,000 credits. It's just included. She was vibrating with excitement. With this machine plus the thunder sound breathing, her training speed would double, which means my returns would double, which means everyone wins. Especially me. Like it? Love it. I walked up behind her, wrapped my arms around her waist, rested my chin on her shoulder, and looked at our reflection in the wall mirror. Good. With this training room, we can unlock all sorts of advanced cultivation positions. She was so happy she actually fell for it. What positions? Then she saw my face in the mirror. That grin. Those eyes. You. She tried to stomp me. I dodged, grabbed her hand, and pulled her to the master bedroom. There it was. A massive European-style bed. Wide. Soft. The kind of mattress that swallows you in pure comfort. I launched myself onto it like a kid at a trampoline park. Oh, this is what a bed should feel like. I patted the empty spot next to me and beckoned to Su Chinga with one finger. Come test the bounce, wifey. Didn't you complain about the old bed? This one is guaranteed squeak-free. She stood in the doorway, red as a fire truck. The gears in her head visibly turning. New apartment. 2 rooms. Maybe she could sleep in the other. No. I sat up and cut off that fantasy before it fully formed. The second room is a study. And according to the latest household regulation, Article 1, married couples must share a bed to enhance bonding and promote the great harmony of life. What household regulation? I've never heard of this. I just made it up. Right now? This second. Before she could protest, I was already off the bed, scooped her up in my arms, and carried her toward that glorious, silent, incredibly bouncy new mattress. Her face said, "I'm going to kill you." Her lack of resistance said something else entirely. New home. New bed. New chapter. Same legendary kidney. More dots. The new bed passed its quality inspection with flying colors. Su Chinga's verdict, delivered while melted into the mattress like a human puddle with her hair everywhere and her eyes unable to focus on anything. This bed is actually nice. A little too soft though, I noted professionally. Hard to get good leverage. But it has its charm. She was too destroyed to even hit me for that one. I told her I was going to check out the gravity training room. The second she heard, training room, her eyes snapped open like someone hit her power button. I'm coming too. You? I looked at her legs, which were still trembling under the blanket. You sure you can stand? The gravity room multiplies pressure. In your current state, you'd get pancaked the moment you walked in. She looked at her own legs, turned red, yanked the blanket over them, and mumbled, "Fine. You go first. I'll rest a minute." She wasn't being lazy. She was genuinely desperate to catch up. I was already a certified warrior. She was still stuck at the doorstep. No matter how nice I was to her, that feeling of depending on someone else was eating her alive. I walked into the gravity room and the heavy metal door sealed behind me. Complete silence. Just me and a beautiful piece of machinery. Identity confirmed. Standard gravity, 1.0x. Let's try 1.5. HUMM. The generators kicked on, an invisible weight pressed down on my body. Blood flowed a tiny bit slower. Breathing got slightly heavier. I did a full set of broadcast gymnastics. Too easy. Like wearing a light backpack. Boring. 2 times. Now we were talking. Air felt thick. Organs getting squeezed. Every breath required actual effort. I ran through the gymnastics again. Every stretch, every kick fighting against doubled gravity. My blood was roaring through my veins like a river in a flood. Not enough. 2.5. Boom. The pressure slammed down like a truck. My knees buckled for a split second before I forced them straight. Sweat instantly appeared on my forehead, dripping onto the floor with audible splats. This was the sweet spot. Every cell in my body was screaming, being crushed and rebuilt simultaneously. I ran the broadcast gymnastics over and over, each rep forging my body harder. For context, normal 1-star warriors can barely walk at 2x gravity. I was doing full exercise routines at 2.5x. The perfected broadcast gymnastics plus 15.7% gene activation made my body a freak of nature. I lost track of time. Just me, the gravity, and the world's most surprisingly lethal calisthenics routine. Then the door beeped. Su Chinga walked in, still a little flushed, but eyes sharp and determined. She saw me drenched in sweat like I'd been swimming and handed me a towel. I saw the readout outside. 2.5x? You were training at 2.5 times gravity. Just a warm-up, I said, toweling off casually. Want to try? Start at 1.2 though. 1.3, she said immediately. Eyes stubborn. Jaw set. That's my girl. Always pushing. I set the controls. Ready? Do it, Ichungum. Her knees nearly buckled instantly. She almost face-planted on the floor. But she caught herself. Teeth clenched so hard I could hear them grinding. She activated the thunder sound breathing. Under gravity pressure, something magical happened. Her chi started circulating automatically, fighting against the weight without her even having to guide it. The technique was doing what it was designed for. Internal organ tempering through resistance. I switched to drill sergeant mode. Back straight. Don't load your knees. Use your thighs and core. Breathing rhythm is off. Stabilize. 3 long, 1 short. 10 minutes in, her legs were shaking like leaves. Face white. Voice cracking. She was about to quit. I didn't help her. Didn't touch her. Instead, I got right behind her ear and yelled, Su Chinga? Remember who you are. If you can't handle this, how are you going to get revenge? How are you going to make them regret what they did? Dirty move. Absolutely. But effective? 1000%. Her father's cold face. Her stepmother's smug grin. Her mother's memory. Every ounce of hatred and fury she'd been bottling up erupted like a volcano. Argh, her spine snapped straight. Her dying chi reserves exploded like someone dumped gasoline on a campfire. Thunder rolled inside her body. Actual audible thunder, so loud I could hear it from outside her skin. She pushed through. Broke through some internal wall she'd been stuck against. Then she collapsed. Completely soaked in sweat. Yoga clothes plastered to every curve. Hair dripping. Face flushed crimson. Breathing like she'd just sprinted a marathon. She looked like a warrior goddess who'd just been through a car wash. Exhausted. Destroyed. And absolutely glowing with achievement. I handed her a nutrient bottle. She grabbed it and chugged the entire thing without stopping. Chun Yi. Her eyes were sparkling with excitement. I think I made huge progress. I can feel it. I wish we had a gene scanner. Do you think I broke 9.5%? Cute. So cute. But what she didn't know was that I could see the real numbers. My system showed her development jumped 0.2%, which meant my returns were 2%, a massive haul from one training session. Her progress was real. Her growth was real. And every drop of sweat she shed in that gravity room made both of us stronger. This apartment was the greatest investment in the history of investments. Gravity room for her gains. Soundproof walls 4. Other gains. Big soft bed for recovery between gaining sessions. We were going to be unstoppable. Time for celebratory hot pot. Again. Let's go. Su Chinga rolled her eyes, but leaned into me anyway. She wanted that hot pot just as badly. There's something about pushing your body to the absolute limit that makes you need to eat an entire cow afterward. Wait. I'm covered in sweat. Let me shower first. I looked at her. Workout clothes plastered to every curve. Skin glistening. Hair sticking to her neck. You know what? You're right. That is uncomfortable. Tell you what. To save time so you can eat sooner. I'll help you wash. Who asked for your help? Pervert. She bolted for the bathroom. I have longer legs. The bathroom door closed. There was a bathtub in there. A big one. Chun Yi. Get out. Babe, look, this bathtub has jets. We should test the buoyancy. 1 hour later. You monster. You said we were just showering. She emerged in a cute purple dress, legs wobbling like a baby giraffe, weakly punching my chest with her tiny fist. How am I supposed to walk to the hot pot restaurant now? You've completely dismantled me. I kissed her little angry fist and grinned. Can't walk? No problem. I scooped her up. One arm under her knees, one behind her back. She weighed nothing. Put me down. If someone sees us, sees what? A man carrying his wife? Call the police. I don't care. I marched out the front door carrying her like a princess. And immediately ran into the neighbors. A young couple, also new to the building. The woman was tall, maybe 175 centimeters, athletic build, sharp features, clearly the warrior in the relationship. Her husband was, well, he was pale, pretty-faced, noodle-armed, and currently drowning under 6 shopping bags while gasping for air. The athletic woman saw me first. Her eyes locked onto my arms, my chest, the effortless way I was carrying a whole human being while looking completely unbothered. I could practically see her brain short-circuit. She literally gulped. Out loud. Like a cartoon character. Su Chinga, meanwhile, felt that woman's hungry stare burning through her and responded by burying her face in my chest like an ostrich. Maximum embarrassment. Maximum hiding. I just nodded politely at the couple and strolled past. Total power move. Completely unintentional. Completely devastating. The second we passed, I heard it unfold behind us. Ow. Honey, what was that for? You carry me too, but the bags. And put the bags down. Carry me. Now. What followed was the saddest attempt at romance I've ever had the privilege of overhearing. The skinny husband put down the groceries, wrapped his trembling arms around his warrior wife, and tried to lift her. Up. UPPP. UPPPPP. His face went purple. His arms were shaking like earthquake sensors. He barely got her off the ground, then started staggering toward their door like a drunk penguin carrying an anvil. You're so weak, the wife complained. See, here's what he couldn't say out loud. His wife was a warrior. Her bone density was several times normal. Her muscle mass was way above average. She probably weighed twice what she looked like. Physics was not on this man's side. They wobbled to the door. She reached out and unlocked it. And at that exact moment, his legs gave out. She did some kind of mid-air acrobatic twist and landed gracefully on her feet like a cat. He face-planted onto the doormat. Full starfish. Complete surrender to gravity. Useless. You can't even carry a woman. What good are you? If your gene activation doesn't hit 8% this month, zero allowance. He lay there on the ground, rubbing his bruised knees, silently mourning his life choices. She walked inside, sighed deeply, and thought about the man she'd just seen in the hallway. Strong, confident, carrying his beautiful wife like she was made of feathers. And he smelled nice too. Unit 1601, right? Noted. In the elevator, Su Chinga finally got put down. She straightened her dress, glared at me, and huffed. This is your fault. That was so embarrassing. I shrugged innocently. Then she remembered the scene too. That poor skinny guy wobbling around like a shopping cart with a broken wheel. And then she looked at me. The guy who'd just carried her out the door, down the hall, past the neighbors, all without breaking a sweat. Uffed. She covered her mouth, but the laugh escaped anyway. Her eyes crinkled up with genuine joy. She reached over, hooked her arm through mine, and rested her head on my shoulder. Didn't say a word. Didn't need to. That lean said everything. Now here's the part one didn't know about until later, but it's too good not to share. Across town, at the Su family mansion, things were going spectacularly badly for evil stepmom. Crash. An antique vase exploded against the floor. Su Yinhai, Su Chinga's scumbag father, was screaming at Fong Qian so loud the windows were probably rattling. What did you do? The Warrior Association's Enforcement Division just called me. They said the Su family is suspected of hiring attackers against a registered warrior. They want us to cooperate with an investigation. He was shaking with rage. In this world, the Su family might be rich, but compared to the Warrior Association, they're an ant next to a boot. Getting labeled as warrior persecutors would mean instant business shutdown, frozen assets, and the whole family mining crystals underground for the rest of their lives. Fong Qian turned on the waterworks immediately. Tears. Trembling lip. Oscar-worthy performance. I didn't know. I just heard that Chun Yi was some thug, and I was worried about Chinga being scammed, so I asked someone to go talk to him. I had no idea he was a warrior. You had no idea, and you nearly destroyed this family. Su Yinhai was so furious he was laughing. The hysterical kind. He ordered Fong Qian under house arrest. No leaving the mansion without permission. And absolutely no more interference with Chun Yi or Su Chinga. He stormed out. Fong Qian stood alone in the trashed living room, nails digging into her palms, hatred boiling behind her eyes. Then her darling daughter Su Qingluo came slithering down the stairs. Silk nightgown, Lolita face, eyes cold as a shark. Don't worry, Mama, the little snake said sweetly, taking her mother's arm. So she found a one-star warrior. Big deal. Give me 1 year. I'll take that exam slot. Get into the Capital Warrior University. Become a master's disciple, and then I'll make Su Chinga kneel before you like a dog. Fang Qian looked at her daughter's ambitious little face and smiled. Good girl. Mama's counting on you. Cute plan, ladies. Really adorable. But here's what you don't know. While you're plotting your little one-year revenge scheme, my wife is training. In a gravity room with a genius coach, drinking premium serums, and getting 10 times returns funneled into a husband whose combat power is climbing faster than your credit card debt. 1 year? We won't need 1 year. The chapter title is literally Special Training Position 1. The author isn't even pretending anymore. It started with dots. An entire paragraph of dots. The night shift at the new apartment was productive. Then Su Chinga's phone buzzed. Caller ID, Su Yinhai. Dear old dad. The man who threw her out like yesterday's garbage. She was in my arms, eyes half closed, looking like she'd transcended to another dimension. But the second she saw that name, her gaze went from dreamy to arctic in about half a second. Want to answer? She reached out, hit reject, then held the power button until the screen went black. Tossed the phone onto the carpet like a dead cockroach. No, don't want to hear his garbage. Then she turned to me, wrapped her arms around my neck, and whispered, Husband. I looked at this beautiful, fierce woman who just hung up on her billionaire father without blinking, and grinned. Since wifey's phone is OFF, let's switch to airplane mode. I'll let you interpret that however you want. Morning. I decided to make breakfast. My specialty, mutant horned pig congee with preserved eggs. Very manly. Very domestic. I threw on some workout clothes and headed for the elevator. And who was waiting there? My new neighbor, Jiang Nan. The athletic woman from yesterday. Except today, she looked completely different. Full black nanofiber combat suit. The tight kind that left absolutely nothing to the imagination. Massive tactical backpack, half her height, strapped to her back. 2 short blades on her belt. She looked like she was about to go assassinate a dragon. She saw me, and her eyes immediately brightened. Her grumpy morning face softened like ice cream in July. Morning. You're up early. Just moved in, right? Yeah, yesterday. I'm Chun Yi, Jiang Nan. She offered a handshake. Even through tactical gloves, her grip was strong. I nodded at her combat loadout. Going somewhere dangerous? Monthly cleanup mission. Gotta clear some mutant horn pigs from an abandoned mine before month end or they dock my stipend. Just casual small talk. But the way she looked at me after I said, be safe, you'd think I'd proposed marriage. Her eyes went soft, then immediately furious. Not at me. At her sleeping husband upstairs. I could practically read her thoughts. This stranger I met 30 seconds ago cares more about my safety than the man I married. That useless lump didn't even open his eyes when I strapped on 50 pounds of weapons at 6 a.m. Meanwhile, this guy, she added me on her phone before leaving. For mission questions. Anytime. Sure, Jiang Nan. Mission questions, filed under the same category as Li Diana's, after-hours availability. I bought 2 pounds of premium horn pig tenderloin and some preserved eggs, went home, and started cooking. The apartment filled with the most incredible aroma. In the bedroom, Su Chinga's nose twitched in her sleep like a little bunny. Her stomach growled her awake. She sat up, confused for 3 seconds. Right, new apartment. Then saw me walk in wearing a ridiculous blue apron, carrying a steaming bowl of congee. She burst out laughing. What are you wearing? I sat on the bed and spoon-fed her because she was still too wrecked to hold things steady. She took 1 sip and her eyes exploded open. So good, she demolished the bowl and immediately asked for seconds. Then, energy fully restored, she announced with maximum determination, I'm going to train. I can feel the breakthrough coming. Your husband stands ready to assist. Who asked for your? Never mind. 2 hours later, I carried one of the leather armchairs from the living room into the gravity training room. Su Chinga stared at me like I'd lost my mind. Why are you putting a sofa in the training room? I patted the armrest with my best scholarly expression. The angle is perfect. The cushioning is ideal. She squinted at me. 4. What exactly? Special advanced cultivation positioning. Come in. I'll show you. This sounds extremely fake. You can always trust your husband. The rest of the chapter is just the word, skip, repeated about 40 times. I'll say this. That sofa was a great investment. The gravity room is soundproof. The chair provides excellent lumbar support. And my system development counter was spinning like a slot machine hitting jackpot. The chapter is called Special Training Position Number 1. which implies there will be a number 2 and 3, and probably a whole curriculum. Being a cultivation coach is the best job I've ever had. The chapter is titled, Su Chinga Gets Pregnant, but we'll get to that. First, more dots. So many dots. The author's keyboard must have a permanent indent on the period key. 1 week. 7 days. 168 hours of what I can only describe as the most intensive, dual cultivation program in human history. My daily routine. Wake up, cook breakfast, train Su Chinga in the gravity room. Assist with her breathing technique using various positions. Feed her deep blue serum. Repeat. Sometimes we'd mix up the order. Sometimes the gravity room and the bedroom swapped roles. The leather sofa saw things no piece of furniture should ever witness. Su Chinga described the week as exhaustingly happy. I described it as maximum efficiency resource farming. Then it happened. Day 7. Gravity room. She was collapsed in my arms, standard post-training state at this point. Drenched in sweat, training suit vacuum sealed to her body, hair plastered to her neck, completely out of energy. I popped open the last deep blue serum and fed it to her because she couldn't even lift her arms anymore. Just opened her mouth like a baby bird. Adorable. The serum hit her system and detonated. I could practically hear it, something inside her cracking. Like an eggshell. Like a dam breaking. A barrier that had blocked her for an entire year just shattered. She grabbed my arm so hard her nails left marks. Chun Yi. Her voice was trembling. Tears forming. Pure, raw, uncontrollable joy. The bottleneck. The one that blocked me for a whole year. It broke. I think I did it. She could feel it. Her body crossing a fundamental threshold. Not just getting stronger. Evolving. The jump from ordinary human to warrior. From mortal to superhuman. I kissed her forehead. I know. You're amazing. And I did know. Because the second she broke through, my system went nuclear. Ding. Gene activation 2%. Current activation 21.7%. 21.7%. I blew past 20%, the 2-star warrior threshold, in a single moment. Didn't just cross it, I overshot by 1.7%. My bones were crackling like popcorn. Muscles rebuilding themselves denser and more explosive. Power flooding through me like electricity through a power grid. 1 week. 7 days ago, I was a freshly certified 1-star nobody. Now I was a 2-star warrior. If anyone in the Federation found out about this progression speed, the entire martial arts world would have a collective seizure. I squeezed my fist and felt like I could crush a car door with my bare hand. This was insane power. But I kept a straight face. Can't let wifey know her husband just had an even bigger breakthrough than she did. That would raise questions I can't answer without saying. Yeah, so there's this cheat system that feeds off our marital activities. Su Chinga was vibrating with excitement, trying to sit up despite having the structural integrity of a wet noodle. Take me to test. I need to go to the Warrior Association. I know I'm past 10%. I calmed her down. Babe, the association means lines and paperwork. Remember, our building lobby has a self-service testing machine. She smacked her own forehead. Right, I forgot. But first, she sniffed herself, wrinkled her nose. During the breakthrough, her pores had purged grayish impurities. Slightly fragrant, in a bad way. Then she sniffed me and recoiled with maximum disgust. Ugh, you stink even worse than me, you smelly man. Then she grabbed my hand and dragged me toward the bathroom. I went willingly, because at this point, let's go shower, in this household has about a 15% chance of actually just being a shower. But here's the scoreboard after 1 week of marriage. Su Chinga broke through to warrior level. From disowned princess to certified superhuman. Dream achieved. Me, secretly a 2-star warrior. Gene activation 21.7%. Broadcast gymnastics at perfection. Thunder breathing at expert. Sacred kidney working overtime. 210,000 credits in the bank. Fong Qian, 1 million credits poorer. Under house arrest. Planning has failed catastrophically. The chapter title says Su Chinga gets pregnant, but the actual text cuts off before that reveal. Classic clickbait. The author learned from YouTube thumbnails. But honestly, with the sacred kidney operating at 2-star warrior capacity, a gravity training room, a soundproof apartment, a strategically placed leather sofa, and a wife whose cultivation sessions happen multiple times daily, It would be more surprising if she wasn't. She's pregnant. My system told me before she even knew. Before her body knew. The moment it happened, the notification hit my brain like a freight train. I'm going to be a father. My hands were shaking. My scalp was tingling. I wanted to scream, laugh, cry, and do a victory lap around the apartment all at once. But Su Chinga was just lying there in my arms, eyes closed, peacefully recovering, completely clueless that she was now carrying a tiny human. I had to play it cool. Can't exactly say, "Hey babe, my interdimensional cheat system just informed me you're pregnant." So I kept my mouth shut and decided to wait a week until a hospital test could discover it naturally. But first, the loot. System. Open first pregnancy gift pack. Ding. First pregnancy pack opened. Reward 1. Gene activation 2%. Reward 2. Su Chinga's thunder sound breathing. Perfection level. Critical hit. Bonus 1. Gene activation another 2%. Bonus 2. Technique evolution. Acquired. Tiger leopard thunder breathing. Proficient. 4% in one shot. My activation rocketed from 21.7% to 25.7%. Solidly mid-tier 2-star warrior. My bones were restructuring. My blood thickened like mercury. My heart pounded like a war drum. And the tiger leopard thunder breathing? Turns out Su Chinga's technique was just the simplified version this whole time. The real deal doesn't just temper organs. It generates bioelectricity, vibrates at high frequency to refine bone marrow, and at perfection level can produce an actual tiger leopard roar that paralyzes enemies with fear. I exhaled and my breath carved a visible white line through the steam in the air, like a laser beam made of wind. Husband, are you okay? Su Chinga felt the pressure shift and got spooked. I reeled it all in, looked down at her, gently touched her still flat belly with a smile I couldn't quite explain. Just thinking, you're really amazing, wife. She thought I meant the breakthrough and immediately got cocky. Obviously, I'm a genius. Then she dragged me downstairs to test herself. She stood in front of the silver testing machine, took a breath, and punched. Force, 1,020 kilograms. Gene activation, 10%. 10%. The number that destroyed the original Chun Yi's life. The number she'd been chasing for years. Done. She stared at the screen for 3 seconds, then burst into tears and threw herself at me. Husband, I did it. I'm a warrior. I caught her, stroked her hair, and grinned. Never doubted you for a second. She immediately started booking her certification appointment, fingers flying across her phone like she was defusing a bomb. This girl went from disowned princess to certified warrior in less than 2 weeks. If her garbage father could see her now, certification tomorrow. Tonight, hot pot, we went back to our regular spot, Xiaolongqian. Our third visit. We were becoming regulars. The staff probably thought we were hot pot addicts. They'd be correct. Walking in, I spotted a familiar face at a big round table, Jiang Nan, the athletic neighbor. She was sitting with her noodle-arm husband and 2 other couples. She saw me, and her whole face lit up like I'd plugged her in. Oh hey, small world. Treating your wife to dinner? Yeah. Quick nod. Polite smile. Keep moving. We sat down nearby, and Su Chinga immediately went into detective mode. How do you know her? Those beautiful eyes narrowed to slits. Pure vinegar energy radiating off her like a space heater. She's literally just a neighbor. You seem very friendly with this neighbor. Babe, she's married. What does it have to do with me? I only like him, my wife. You're not just pretty, you're also... I paused for dramatic effect. Also what? Also. Also precious. Super precious. Very lovable. Close call. Almost said, pregnant. Smooth recovery. Chun Yi. Smooth recovery. Idiot. She blushed and kicked me under the table, but the jealousy evaporated. Now here's the part one didn't see, but would find out about later. Back at that round table, things were getting scheming. Jiang Nan's husband noticed how she'd smiled at me and was quietly crushing his wine glass with rage. His wife had never looked at him like that. But the real problem was a guy named Wang Kai. Rich kid. Family runs a gene serum business. Known playboy who changes girlfriends like socks. And his eyes were glued to Su Chinga's back like a starving wolf spotting a lamb. Jiangjia. Those 2 also live in our building. His current girlfriend sitting right beside him went rigid. She could see exactly where this was headed. Jiang Nan saw it too. And here's where it gets devious. She actually wanted Wang Kai to make trouble for us. Her calculation was ice cold. If Wang Kai harasses Su Chinga, I'd be stressed and overwhelmed. Then SHE could swoop in as the caring big sister neighbor and comfort me. And if Wang Kai actually succeeded in stealing Su Chinga, even better, I'd be single and heartbroken, ripe for the picking. She was playing 3D chess with my marriage. What's their unit number? Wang Kai asked, pretending to care about business opportunities. 1601, Jiang Nan answered with a sweet smile. Wang Kai filed that number away like a missile locking onto a target. His excuse? My family sells supplements. I should visit and introduce our products. Just neighborly business. The worst excuse in human history. Everyone at that table knew he wanted to introduce his products, to my wife specifically. His own girlfriend was biting her lip so hard it might bleed, but she didn't dare say anything. One wrong word, and she'd be replaced by Tuesday. So now I've got a rich playboy hunting my wife, a scheming neighbor trying to steal me, and a baby on the way that nobody knows about yet. But what they don't know is this. I'm not the struggling nobody they think I am. I'm a 2-star warrior hiding as a 1-star. My punch force could probably put Wang Kai through a wall. And my wife, who they see as a vulnerable target, just broke through to warrior level today and has the temperament of a vengeful ice dragon. Wang Kai wants to swing his money around and play big shot? Come to 1601, buddy. I'll be waiting. Morning. Balcony. Floor-to-ceiling windows. 16th floor. Panoramic view of the entire city waking up below us. The perfect setting for cultivation practice. Babe, look at this view. I position myself behind her, hands on her waist, whispering in her ear. The tiger leopard thunder breathing requires a mindset of swallowing mountains and rivers. Gazing down upon the masses below cultivates that sense of standing above all things. Incredible for your spiritual breakthrough. Su Chinga was pressed against the glass with her hands, trembling, and not from the cold. No, the curtains aren't closed. It's broad daylight. What if someone across the street sees? Relax. We're on the 16th floor. Unless someone in that building over there owns an astronomical telescope pointed specifically at our apartment. You're shameless. She called me shameless while I delivered a doctoral thesis on why window-facing cultivation maximizes spiritual energy absorption. Every terrible thing I do comes wrapped in a peer-reviewed martial arts justification. It's a gift, really. Then, knock, knock, knock. Su Chinga nearly jumped out of her skin. Someone's at the door. She tried to escape. My arms didn't budge. 2-star warrior strength versus 1-star warrior panic. Math doesn't lie. Ignore it. But nobody's home. They'll leave. Now focus, wife. If your mind wanders, your chi reverses, and everything we just worked on is wasted. She had no counter-argument for that, because it was technically true. The knocking stopped. Whoever it was gave up. What I didn't know, but would learn later, was that the knocker was Wang Kai, the playboy from last night's dinner. He was standing outside our door in a tailored designer casual suit, hair slicked back with enough product to grease a car engine, holding a gift bag of cheap, premium, nutrition samples as his excuse to meet my wife. He waited 2 minutes. Nothing. Pressed his ear against the door, but the soundproofing in this place was military grade. You could detonate a bomb inside, and the hallway would hear nothing. He figured we were out. His little predator brain immediately started calculating. New warrior husband must be busy running missions all day, which means the beautiful wife is home alone. He planned to come back later. Catch Su Chinga by herself. Use his family money and charm to build a connection. His standard playbook. Gifts, flattery, flash the family name, then move in for the kill. This man looked at my wife and thought, easy target. Buddy, that easy target just became a warrior yesterday and has the temperament of a blizzard with daddy issues. Good luck. Eventually we finished our balcony cultivation. Su Chinga collapsed against the window, one single tear rolling down her cheek from sheer exhaustion and other things. Then she recovered enough to get angry. She wound up and punched me in the chest. Full force. A newly minted warrior with 1,000 kilograms of punch power, hitting me with genuine fury. Thump. Her fist bounced off my chest like she'd punched a tank. Her eyes went wide. She looked at her fist, now stinging and slightly red, then back at my chest. Not a scratch. Not even a flinch. How? What? I'm a warrior now. Why did that feel like punching a wall? That was nice, babe. Like a little massage. Feel free to do that anytime. But be careful not to hurt your hand. She was speechless. Absolutely baffled. She'd just broken through to warrior level, and her husband's body was still like hitting reinforced steel. She had no idea I was secretly a mid-tier 2-star warrior with 25.7% gene activation hiding behind a 1-star badge. Then I noticed we were both sweaty. She was glistening in the morning sun like, okay, you get it. Sticky. Uncomfortable. Bath time. I can shower myself. I picked her up. Carried her to the bathroom. Protests were filed and summarily denied. An hour later, we finally left the apartment. It was 2 in the afternoon. We'd accomplished nothing productive all morning unless you count advancing martial arts through unconventional partner exercises as productive, which my system absolutely did. Walking to the Warrior Association, Su Chinga was doing that thing where she could barely walk straight, but was trying very hard to look normal. Long dress to hide the wobble. Face glowing like she'd been hit by a beauty filter. Every person we passed did a double take at her. Slow down. This is good for you. It's called a recovery walk. Flushes out lactic acid. Flush out your nonsense. She pinched me, but leaned on me for support anyway. Her body was more honest than her mouth. Always had been. We arrived at the association. Second floor. VIP reception. And there she was. Lee Diana. My dedicated service representative. Today's outfit. Fitted professional suit. One button strategically undone at the collar. Legs gleaming in those trademark stockings. She was carrying files when she spotted me, and her face lit up like Christmas. Mr. Chun, what brings you here? How can I serve you? She drifted closer. Perfume arriving before she did. Professional smile with unprofessional wattage. Then she noticed Su Chinga. The smile froze. Su Chinga noticed Lee Diana at the exact same moment. 2 women locking eyes across a government office. You could practically hear the battle horns. My wife, who 30 seconds ago could barely stand, suddenly had perfect posture. Spine straight. Chin up. She grabbed my arm like she was handcuffing me to her and turned those ice queen eyes on Lee Diana. Hello? I'm Su Chinga, Chun Yi's wife. I'm here to register as a warrior. The temperature in the VIP room dropped about 15 degrees. Lee Diana's smile recovered quickly. She was a professional, but the sparkle in her eyes dimmed noticeably. I stood between them feeling like a mouse between 2 cats. Being popular is exhausting. I have a scheming neighbor who wants to steal me, a playboy who wants to steal my wife, a service rep who keeps unbuttoning her collar around me, and a wife who is now strong enough to actually hurt me if she ever finds out about any of this. And she's pregnant. With my child, who she doesn't know about yet. My life is a circus, and I'm every act simultaneously. Lee Diana recovered from Su Chinga's territorial display in about 0.1 seconds. Professional training kicked in, and she launched a masterclass in diplomatic flattery. Oh, so this is Mr. Chen's wife. I always knew Mr. Chun had excellent taste, but I never expected his partner to also be a warrior. You two are truly a match made in heaven. Brilliant. Complimented Su Chinga's beauty and my judgment simultaneously. This woman could survive any corporate office on earth. Su Chinga's death grip on my arm loosened approximately 15%. The ice thawed from, I will end you. 2. I am monitoring this situation closely. Progress. Lee Diana led us to the VIP testing room. No waiting in line because my 1-star status came with perks. Su Chinga stepped up to the punch machine, activated her thunder sound breathing, and let it rip. Boom. Punch force. 1,050 kilograms. Husband. I did it. She nearly launched herself at me before remembering Lee Diana was watching. Instead, she just stood there with the biggest puppy eyes imaginable, radiating pure, praise me, energy. I wiped the sweat from her forehead with a handkerchief. Better than I expected. Those special training sessions really paid off. She turned crimson at special training sessions and shot me a look that could cut glass. Lee Diana watched our whole exchange with a complex cocktail of emotions behind her professional smile. Then she shifted to business mode and dropped something interesting. Now that you're both certified warriors, you qualify for the self-employment privilege. Instead of getting randomly assigned grunt work like hauling boxes or sweeping streets, you can choose your job from the association's partner companies. Su Chinga's eyes lit up. Choosing sounded much better than being told to mop floors. Any recommendations? I asked. We need time for training and family life. Li Diana's eyes flickered with barely concealed excitement. This was what she'd been waiting for. Actually, yes. I strongly recommend the Nanjiang 3rd Beast Slaughterhouse. Slaughterhouse? Su Chinga instinctively covered her nose, already imagining rivers of blood and the smell of death. Don't dismiss it yet. Li Diana went into full sales pitch mode. The benefits are incredible. First, high pay, short hours. Base rate of 500 credits per day plus piece rate bonuses. Only 4 hours of actual work. Half a day. The rest of your time is completely free for training or quality couple time. She said, couple time, while looking at me. I pretended not to notice. Second, and this is the real gold. As new warriors, your biggest weakness is not knowing beast anatomy. At the slaughterhouse, you're dissecting different creatures every single day. You'll learn where the bones are, where the muscles connect, where the vital organs sit. When you eventually fight real beasts in the field, you'll know exactly where to strike. Veteran warriors pay for anatomy courses. Here, you get paid till you learn. Okay, that was actually compelling. Knowing where to stab a monster is literally life or death information. Of course, she added with practiced honesty, the environment is rough. It smells terrible. And cutting up beast carcasses all day isn't glamorous. I rubbed my chin. Good pay. Short hours. Free combat education. Leaves time for cultivating with Su Chinga. But something smelled fishy, and not just the slaughterhouse. Li Diana was pushing this way too hard. This had recruitment commission written all over it. The job was probably impossible to fill because nobody wanted to wade through monster guts all day, and she'd been sitting on a fat referral bonus she couldn't collect. Am I irresistibly handsome, and she's doing me a favor out of attraction? Very possible, but also not the only explanation. Sounds interesting, I said, but we'll need to think about it. Send me the details. A tiny flash of disappointment in her eyes. She wanted the commission today, but she recovered instantly. Of course. Take your time. I've sent everything to your account. 10 minutes later, Su Chinga had her shiny new warrior certificate on her phone, and we were walking out. Are we really going to work at a slaughterhouse? She wrinkled her nose like I'd suggested we vacation in a sewer. That Li Diana was definitely selling us something. And killing animals? It's so gross. Babe, what happens when you're on a real battlefield and a beast's blood sprays in your face? You gonna ask it to pause while you find a wet wipe? That's different, is it though? I pulled out my phone and opened the Warriors Home app, a forum only certified warriors could access. Searched new warrior jobs in the Nanjiang section. Dozens of posts. I found the most relevant thread. Newbie here. Just got certified. What job should I pick? The top responses were gold. One guy said, dream on. Nobody shares their secrets. But then someone dropped a knowledge bomb. Everyone looks down on the bee slaughterhouse, but it's secretly the best newbie job. Here's why. First, piece rate pay. If you're fast with a knife, 20 to 30K a month easy. Way better than security guard salary. Second, and this is the real secret, the most nutritious part of any beast isn't the meat. It's the blood essence and organs. That stuff costs a fortune in stores. But at the slaughterhouse, it's an employee perk. You can even accidentally take home scraps and make beast blood stew. Your chi and blood recovery goes through the roof. Third, after 3 months of daily dissection, you'll know beast anatomy blindfolded. When you go out hunting for real, 1 strike, 1 kill. That's survival knowledge you can't buy. Only downside, it stinks. But you're a warrior. If you can't handle a bad smell, how are you going to handle a battlefield? The replies were enthusiastic. Wisdom. I'm signing up right now. Beast blood as a free perk? Say less. I showed Su Chinga the thread. She read it carefully, nose still wrinkled, but I could see the gears turning. Free beast blood essence. That stuff would supercharge her training, which would supercharge my 10 times returns, which would make us both stronger faster. The math was irresistible, even if it meant smelling like monster intestines. The forum research continued, and like all internet forums, the comments eventually devolved into arguments. Some guy showed up saying the 3rd slaughterhouse was trash because it only handled low-level herbivore beasts, mutant horn pigs, and giant-toothed cows. The real money was at the 1st and 2nd slaughterhouses, which processed shadow leopards, iron-skin bears, and flame tigers. Then someone else immediately destroyed him. Bro, The first and second slaughterhouses require 2-star warriors with proven dissection experience. They're not even hiring newbies. What part of new warrior don't you understand? Fair point. Although secretly, I already qualified. My gene activation was 25.7%, solidly mid-tier 2-star. But I had 0 butchering experience. Can't exactly write, "I once cut a steak," on my resume. I also noticed some suspiciously enthusiastic posts praising the third slaughterhouse. Formatted too neatly. Too excited. Smelled like the kind of fake recruitment ads I remembered from my previous life. Amazing opportunity. Great pay. Flexible hours. Join our family. Yeah, whenever a job posting says, family, run. Still, even filtering out the corporate shilling, the core logic was sound. Good pay, short hours, free beast materials, combat knowledge. I just needed to start at the third and work my way up. I explained my plan to Su Chinga at home. She was sitting on the couch trimming her nails like a princess, and the second I said, slaughterhouse, her face scrunched up like she'd smelled death itself. You're serious? That place is full of beast guts. It's disgusting, I know, but I need the beast blood for our training and the dissection skills for survival. I'll go alone. You can pick something nice and clean. She went quiet. Looked at me, and I could see the internal war happening behind those beautiful eyes. Stay home safe and pretty, or fight alongside her husband in a hellhole. Then something shifted. Her eyes went cold. I could tell she was picturing Fang Qian, Su Chinga, their smug faces, and she was mentally replacing those faces with beast carcasses. If she could learn to dissect an animal with surgical precision, she could learn to dissect her enemies. No, she put down the nail clipper like a soldier picking up a weapon. I'm going with you, babe. Seriously, it's not. Chun Yi, do you think women are weak? If we're married, we fight together. Husband-wife team. I refuse to believe I can't handle anything you can. Well, when the Ice Queen gives a battle speech, you don't argue. You salute. Deal. Third slaughterhouse it is. We grind there, get experience, then upgrade to first or second, 1 week later. Outskirts of Nanjiang City. Third beast slaughterhouse. We weren't even through the gate when the smell hit us like a physical wall. Blood, beast musk, industrial disinfectant, all blended into the worst perfume ever created by human civilization. HURK, Su Chinga's face went from porcelain white to ghost white in about 2 seconds. Her hand flew to her mouth. Her eyes were watering. Babe, maybe you should go home. I am not retreating. She grabbed my arm and marched faster toward the entrance, despite looking like she might redecorate the sidewalk with her breakfast. I'm Su Chinga. I don't run. Respect. Pure respect for this woman. HR processed us quickly thanks to Li Dianya's connections. The supervisor gave us our orientation speech, which was basically, you're not warriors here. You're butchers. Daily quota. 50 mutant horn pigs each. Miss the quota, lose pay. Station C, line 3. Go. The main floor was. Imagine if hell had a meat department. Machines roaring. Blood literally flowing across the floor in rivers. Hundreds of horn pigs, each weighing several hundred pounds, hanging from hooks on a conveyor system like the world's most horrifying dry cleaning operation. Su Chinga stood at her workstation holding a special alloy dissection knife, staring at the unconscious horn pig that had just been slammed onto her table. Rough fur, tusks dripping drool, a wave of hot, raw animal stench hitting her directly in the face. The school goddess, the pristine princess who used to drink purified gene serums from crystal glasses, was now standing in rubber boots in a pool of pig blood. Her hands were shaking. Watch me, I said. I'd spent the past week binge-watching dissection tutorials online like a med student cramming for finals. Time to put theory into practice. Deep breath. Knife goes into the throat. Splorch. Blood everywhere. I dodged sideways, but still caught a few drops on my apron. First day on the job, and I already looked like a crime scene. But then ding. Host has attempted dissection. Skill acquired. Basic dissection blade technique. Entry level. I knew it. If broadcast gymnastics counted as a skill, of course butchering counted too. And if it's a skill, system. Spend 1 development point.